Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is a super special Blue Heaven podcast live stream thing. What's going on, Dodgers Nation? I am Clint. You guys already know Doug McKain over there. He's been on, you were on for like, 9 hours earlier today. All of the best trade coverage you can get, plus the legend Noah Camras on the stream. Follow at Noah Camras. Follow at Doug McKain or DMac_LA, and follow at RealFRG on the Twitter, on the Instagram. You guys, number one, I gotta say, you're now home with Dodgers Nation and Jim Beam. Please drink responsibly. But we gotta talk Dodgers trade deadline. We have about an hour and a half till trade deadline time. And Doug, what's going on, man? Where's Dylan Cease? Where's Eduardo Rodriguez? Justin Verlander's back with the Astros. What is going on? Tell the people what the hell's happening.
No trade, no trophy. Andrew Friedman has a lot of work to do. We've heard Dylan Cease that the White Sox, they're listening to offers for Cease. Will it be Eduardo Rodriguez from the Detroit Tigers? At this point, you're talking about a rotation that's desperate for starting pitching, coming off a month that was the worst month in Los Angeles Dodgers history as far as their starting rotations, ERA at 6.18. They need pitching. Verlander, he's on his way to Houston. He's back in H-Town. We know that was a long shot of a deal when you consider that's where he wanted to be. The Mets are paying some of that financial. They're taking on some of that salary.
Taking a lot of that money down.
They're taking a lot of that money down. And look, at this point, the Dodgers, they need to go all in. They need to find a way to get me a Dylan Cease, get me an Eduardo Rodriguez. You want to talk about Jack Flaherty, but if they do not trade for a starter in the next, T-minus a little over an hour, almost 2 hours, if they don't add another piece, it's not going to be pretty. This team is not going to win the World Series. This roster, as constructed right now, lots of talent offensively, but their starting rotation, they're leaking water. They don't have the requisite pieces to make a run. And this team, Andrew Friedman, you need to go all in. What is the point of having all these prospects unless you're going to cash in? Look, there's two reasons why you develop prospects: to use them as big league talent, as contributors, and to make them trade chips. You have to cash in those trade chips today, or else this team is not going to win the World Series.
And on this being trade deadline day, to see the lineup the Dodgers are running out there, where Ahmed Rosario's batting fourth, he's batting cleanup in the lineup, that's a little painful. Hey, Spencer, can you crank me up a little bit on the board? It looks like I'm low. But what you got? I know you got comments. Noah's going to be here making sure he's monitoring the comments as much and making sure nothing explodes, because we're still hoping for
I got the comments.
Cease. We're still hoping for Flaherty. Doug and I are just arguing about Jack Flaherty minutes before the stream.
A lot of Dylan Cease talk in the comments. Some Mitch Keller, some Dylan Cease, some Eduardo Rodriguez, and good news, Spencer. We got ourselves a little super chat.
Super chat, let's go. Yeah, damn. Yo.
Are you really doing sound check right
We're doing sound check, middle of the show.
I think I'm low too, but I don't know.
Pump up,
you're peeking there. We're lower in our ears, but it's all good.
Good news is Francisco Diaz, $4.99. Thank you, Francisco. He said, I was feeling good during the stream early, but now with the deadline rapidly approaching and no new updates, I'm getting PTSD of last season's deadline. You know, when Joey Gallo was the big move.
Yeah. I mean, so far this has the same feeling of the Joey Gallo deadline. It's like, yeah, they did something. They added a couple of pieces, but it wasn't the sexiest of deadlines. Right now, this feels more like 2022 than 2021.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely spot on. I mean, the only difference is this year you've seen more moves made, at least volume-wise, with the additions of Kike Hernandez, Rosario, you got Joe Kelly, you got Dylan Cease. Last year you had Gallo. Chris Martin at the time, what was his big issue? Was giving up too many home runs, but had a pretty high strikeout rate. I believe that Lance Lynn can have a similar result, have success. It's going to be fear the beard for this Dodger team, and he eats innings, right? So hopefully you have success with those guys, but like I said, those are the moves on the margins. Those are the marginal upgrades that definitely this team needed, because they needed some depth pieces. You needed an influx of talent in the bullpen. You needed another rotation piece. You needed some more hitters you can trust against left-handed pitching. But if you don't go out there and get a starter in a year where Julio Urias has had a down season, in a year where Clayton Kershaw, he's been banged up. When he's been on the mound, he's been fantastic. He's pitched like an ace, but they need another guy to be considered legitimate World Series contenders this year, because even last season, the season before that, the starting pitching hasn't been elite in the postseason. Yes, you can get Walker Buehler back, but you can't bank on that either. Will his command be right? At his best, we know that, but I think Andrew Friedman, he realizes that this year, it can't happen what happened last year, because last year was a mistake. It was a flat-out mistake to not trade for Luis Castillo. That would have solved a lot of problems for this team. They were close to making a deal.
It's also a team that won 111 games.
That was the problem. That was the problem.
Like, how do you be like, this is the worst team that's ever happened? And that's
what I've been saying for months here. That's what I've been saying for months here, is that the silver lining in having a average to good season is you can identify those holes, right? Last year, it'd be a tough sell to the organization saying, okay, we're on pace to win 111 games. We're having all this success, but we need another lights-out starter. But the fact that they were even considering it last year lets you know that the writing was on the wall, that they need another starter. And I want to say, too, is look, if you look at this prospect list that they have, there's a lot of really good players out there. Not a lot of guys that are projected to be stars. Okay? A lot of aging prospects. You have to cash in on these guys. Michael Busch, he could be a solid big leaguer. Emmett Sheehan, he could be a solid big leaguer. If it comes to the postseason and Gonsolin and Sheehan are both on this team, I'd rather see Sheehan in the bullpen than Gonsolin, right? So there is talent in this team, on this roster and this team. But look, you can't save your way to wealth, okay? You cannot save your way to wealth. The Dodgers are trying to save their way to wealth. You can create wealth by taking your assets and cashing them in and getting players that can help you. That's what you need to do, and I think that scared money don't make none. I mean, we know that if you just keep your money in the bank, that money is not going to outpace inflation. Right now, their prospects are going to go down in value the longer they keep them. And I think this is the trade deadline that you send a message to the Braves, to the Astros, to the organizations out there saying, no, the Dodgers, we think we're the model franchise. I think if they don't make a move, I think they lose their status as one of the model franchises. I mean, they already one of them, but as the premier model franchise. I think right now when you look at their ability to spend, their financial muscle, their prospect capital, there's no doubt they are the model franchise along with the Braves and the Astros and some others. But look how aggressive. I mean, the Astros are coming off a World Series win, and they're still going out there for Verlander.
Well, they're fixing problems. They have a bunch of injured pitching. So do the Dodgers. And, hey, the Dodgers still have a little over an hour to try to figure something out. But the Astros have figured something out, and they just went back to the old script, bring back Justin Verlander. You mentioned the Braves. Braves making a move. They brought in left-hander Brad Hand, so they're still trying to be Braves better. We'll talk more about them as the show goes on. I know
we got some stuff. First, a lot of love for D-Mac there. Someone said D-Mac should just be the GM. Hey,
I got us. I mean,
that could be also Cody Bellinger in the stream and Mookie Betts in the stream. So
Shout
two
the
real ones.
The real ones. And also, Spencer, we got some super chats.
Oh!
We are going to start with Nando390, always in the stream. Appreciate the hustle, guys. Let's go Dodgers for $2. Thank you, Nando. Another guy who's always in the stream, a new name, Ahmed Hayward season 2023.
Okay.
He said Cease and TA7 are on the way. Love y'all. Thank you very much for the 199 super chat.
Manifest. LeVar Ball this.
We got 80 minutes to get that one done. And we got Grizzly_OSO. Fire Friedman. So not Fire Roberts. We got a Fire Friedman.
Special.
Unless they get Cease, then Shuey from DMAC and Clint for Cease. We are not going to get through a postseason with pitching as is right now. And we want to talk about those really quickly, and then I want to talk about one other thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of in lockstep. I think we got a mind meld happening between us and our Commodores, and that this team has a desperate need for starting pitching. They need to address it now. You already made the move for Lance Lynn. I think that's a move that's going to pay off. I think Dodgers fans are going to fall in love with Lance Lynn. I think that he's going to have success, but you need that other guy, and you're hoping that he can have success, but you also need him for an insurance policy, too, if one of these other guys doesn't work out. Now, I think Eduardo Rodriguez, who we talked about at length, extensively on the early morning stream, he's a name that I absolutely think he's a solid 2, a high-end 3, but is he going to be the needle mover that a Verlander was going to be? I think the answer is no. Is he the needle mover that a Dylan Cease is? Hell no. Okay, Dylan Cease is an absolute beast. I mean, we're talking about top flight, top shelf stuff, and you put him in this Dodgers organization, a strikeout rate above 30%, FIP at 266 last and since June 1st. So this is the ace they need. But one thing I find interesting, Clay, I kind of want to get your take on this is, in years past, it's always been the rental types, right?
Yes.
The Yu Darvish types, the Scherzer types. Now we're seeing them involved with Mitch Keller. We're seeing him in Max Kellerman, by the way, shout out, one of my idols growing up, but Mitch Keller and
I'll tell you another thing, Max Kellerman.
And Dylan Cease. I mean, these are guys that are under team control for multiple seasons. So that lets me know that this organization, they know the surplus they have as far as pitching, as far as the war chest they've created from prospects. They know that the time is now to maximize on that value and get some proven stars.
Yeah. You can have all of these, future potential star, blue chip prospects in the organization. And, they were forced to turn to some of them. Bobby Miller earlier than they wanted. Emmett Sheehan much earlier than they wanted. They have a few more in the tank. They sent one away in the Lynn deal with Nick Nastrini. But those guys don't win you championships. They very rarely does somebody come up and win, help win a championship. You just off the top of my head, you think of Wainwright with the Cardinals in 2005. You think of John Lackey with the Angels in 2002. Those are guys that those teams didn't kind of expect to be there, and they had to rely on the rookies, and they put together some pretty magical performances, I guess, en route to winning World Series. But I don't feel the same way about Landon Knack, about who's the other, Nick Frasso. I don't feel the same about those type of dudes.
Yeah, River Ryan.
Gavin
some
Stone,
of the
no.
Yeah, River Ryan, Gavin Stone. I mean, a lot of these guys could be projected as relievers. We know that, but they are just prospects, and that is something you have to consider. You cannot keep all these guys in this organization. I think the unique thing, too, about the Los Angeles Dodgers is if you're a franchise like the Tampa Bay Rays or the Orioles or some of these other teams out there, you need to build that farm because you need to get production. You need to hit on guys like the Dodgers have with the Corey Seagers and the Will Smiths, the Cody Bellingers. The list goes on and on. But the Dodgers, they have the luxury of getting stars in a multitude of different ways. You can develop them. You can also trade for them and sign them like they did with Mookie Betts. You can sign them outright like they did with Freddie Freeman. So they don't need to rely on their farm system to produce stars. If Bobby Miller is a frontline starter one day, great. But they're going to find a way to get a frontline starter one way or the other. Either you have to pay for it or develop it. So I think that's something else that we need to consider. So if I'm the Dodgers right now, that is what my focus is, adding a star, and I think they win the deadline. They make the most headlines. Verlander's the name that most fans will consider, right? I mean, he's the sexy name, the Cy Young winner. Dylan Cease, though, if we're looking at just today and next year, the year after that, imagine a Walker Buehler and Dylan Cease-led rotation next season. Kershaw comes back. I mean, that's why you got to pay up big time. You're paying a massive premium to get a guy with under that
if they're
going to
go
after
Cease, this is 100% the time to do it because you don't try to. I mean, you have Steve Cohen coming out saying today, or the Mets coming out saying today, hey, we're probably not competing next year, where they're kind of going into a soft, quick rebuild. The Dodgers don't want to do that. They're not in a position to do that. And like we were talking about last night, this is a team that they really want to go all in on, and they need to go all in on, and they need one more star, one more starter, one more ace-level guy. And I don't feel that with Eduardo Rodriguez. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit, but I know Noah's got some stuff in the tank. And I
very, very quick things. First of all, the stove was kind of quiet for an hour, but we just got a trade. Craig Mish reports that the Marlins are acquiring Jake Berger from the White Sox. So Marlins
White Sox continue to sell.
Yeah, White Sox selling, Marlins, NL contender they're adding. But we got some comments. A lot of Dylan Cease to LA. Cartaya and Landon Knack for Cease is what Boomer Assassin said. We got some Andrew Freeman not doing anything right now. We got some other, I believe Cease's move that we made in the offseason. That's Scarlet and Blue. Jason Diamond not very happy with Andrew Friedman. So a lot of people not happy with Andrew Friedman, and a lot of people
got the Marlins making moves. We got the Angels making moves. I mean, Jake Berger, well done.
Yeah, he's actually having a good year.
The Berger, well done. Okay, so yeah,
okay, I didn't get that one. That's my bad.
So, yeah, I mean, you look at this team, and that really is things going to stoke the flames even more with Dodger fans out there. They're seeing top-level contenders going after it, mid-level contenders going after it. Teams like the Diamondbacks making moves, the Rangers making moves. By the way, I kind of want to see a Max Scherzer versus Justin Verlander in the American League in the ALC. I think that'd be pretty cool. But
very much can happen. A couple of the comments I saw as well. V-Track says Verlander should have been a no-brainer. Astros had no prospects. Do you think the Dodgers made a mistake not going all in on Verlander? I also saw another comment that's saying, Boomer Assassin said Verlander nixed any Dodgers trade. Do you think that's something that could have been
reported? Because I mean, it absolutely could have been reported. I think we talked about on last night's show that hey, he had to sign off on that. You negotiate, you bargain for a no trade clause. It's one of the best weapons you can have if you're a player. And yeah, Verlander, if he didn't want to be in Los Angeles, maybe that was the case. Maybe he didn't want to answer one question about what happened in 2017. You know my thoughts on that. Of course, it was terrible what happened, but he's a guy that was traded mid-season. He was a pitcher. Yes, you would have liked him to come out and condemn it more than he did, but still, I mean, you really can't place the blame on him for that. And if you look at the prospect capital that they gave up, one thing about the Astros, Clint, is this, though. Sometimes, I mean, look, their top-rated pitcher was their 7th best prospect. They had no top prospects. And you also consider that they're still feeling the effects of those draft pick losses because of the cheating scandal, right? Yeah. Now the Astros, they have one of the worst farm systems in baseball, but one thing they're really good at, international signing. Also, lots of times their pitchers, they're off the radar. They develop them as well as anyone out there. So that's something to consider too. And I think the Mets too, you have to factor in, did the Mets want to deal with the Dodgers? Because they see the Dodgers as long-term competition.
Definitely a threat.
And also, did they value their prospects? And would they be willing to give Bobby Miller? I'm guessing the answer was an emphatic no from this organization. If they wanted to get Verlander for Bobby Miller, I'm assuming they could have gotten a deal done. But my guess is that it was something along the lines of an Emmett Sheehan or one of those other guys, the Pepios, the Knacks, the Hurts, the Frassos, the Stones, of those likes. But yeah, at the end of the day, I heard yesterday that the Dodgers weren't quite all in on the idea of Justin Verlander, and I think it comes down to financially, they realize that if you're parting ways with top prospects and having to absorb salary, does it make sense to use those same top prospects and try to get a Cease, try to get a Keller, try to get a Rodríguez, and do something that's more fiscally responsible in the future, and then you throw all that money at Shohei Ohtani this offseason?
Yeah, I think they would have been more in on fewer prospects, absorbing the money, but that's not what the Mets wanted to do. So it was an imperfect marriage there. A couple more comments real quick, and I will get to you, because Noah Ortega said every team is probably saying Bobby Miller or else no, which does make sense. I think most of these teams are trying to pull Bobby Miller up until 3, or 259 essentially, like we saw with the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner trade in 2021. Jay Dilla says Cease, Keller, Erod, that is the order. The Cease being at the top, then Mitch Keller, then Erod. Honestly, and we're going to argue about this more in a little bit. I want this guy to go through some more of the comments, and I see we have some super chats.
A lot of
awesome
Super chat.
I put Jack Flaherty above Eduardo Rodriguez, and Doug and I do not agree on that. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
I like data.
Rattle off.
That's a nice little teaser, but first, Spencer, we got some super chats.
Oh, let's go.
Why are you dancing?
Douglas.
All right,
Jennifer
we're going to
McKain.
rattle off these super chats because we got a lot of them. You guys are all awesome. We're going to start, first of all, at Noah Ortega one. That was a super chat, so thank you, Noah Ortega.
Well, I also saw him on here.
Oh, so he said it twice. So Bobby Miller, so we'll get to that. Seth Gribble, $4.99. Not very happy with Ben Verlander. Ben, not biased. Trashlander is what he called him. Is such a homer.
his friend.
The dude doesn't post a video about one individual trade except for when his brother gets traded. # inside job. So
Hey,
he's the Jackson Mahomes of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Okay,
What
man.
did I say? I said all of a sudden the Astros are going to be at the top of his
the
his
yeah.
power
all
rankings.
inside
Call
is
that
a
one
World
for sure.
Series
12
favorite.
hours.
So that's one. Just got one from J-Dog, $1.99.
J-Dog.
Mets pay $35 million both years and $15 on third year. They paid a lot of money
They did.
trade Justin Verlander. We're going to keep these going. John Bleed and Blue, $5. And then a little under had a chat, so I'm guessing that goes with the super chat. The Dodgers won the World Series in 1988 with the worst lineup in baseball history. Because of the Dodgers pitching, they won the World Series. Pitching wins World Series championships. That's a great point by John Bleed and Blue. Devin said no trade for starting pitcher. Andrews Friedman. Yeah, Friedman. That's kind of a funny little play on words there.
Or just misspelling.
Or misspell. Could go either way. Two more. The Noah Ortega one. Teams are probably saying Bobby Miller else no. Thank you, Noah Ortega. And then I want to get to this one. Diane Schroeder, $10. Thank you for the super chat. She said, what are your true feelings on what will go down at the deadline, DMAC, Clint, and Noah? So I think we should answer that one. Do you want to start, DMAC, your true feelings? We got about 70 minutes until the deadline. What's going down?
Also, mash that thumbs up button while you're here, YouTube. We appreciate you guys
We're,
subscribe. That helps us out a whole bunch.
If we get to 200 likes, the Dodgers are going to make a trade. That's what I heard.
Oh, is that how it
200
works?
likes?
Andrew's watching?
I like
Andrew's
it.
watching.
All right,
200
text
likes.
Andrew right now. Make
Oh,
sure
also,
he's
really
watching.
quickly, Bartolo Colon, $1.99, always quiet before the storm. And Kurt Johnson, $2. Go get Tariq Skubal from Detroit. Okay. That's a great point. We'll talk about that.
He's regressed.
All right. What's going to happen? Your honest opinions. 68 minutes until the deadline.
I mean, my honest opinion is you're going to get one of those 3 starters. There really hasn't been a lot of smoke on Cease of
Erod
late.
just
the
happen?
Dodgers just got Eduardo Rodriguez.
There we go.
there it is.
Boom.
There
Let's
it
The
go.
is.
Dodgers just
Let's go.
got
There it is.
Eduardo
Let's go.
Rodriguez.
Let's go. Let's get right into it.
It says not officially done.
Who reported, though?
Passon
wait.
just said.
No, Passon said it's not happening.
It's not happening. Let's
They
not
have
go.
Oh,
to
he
tra-
invoked
he-
his no
He
trade.
used his no trade
Wow.
clause.
Wow,
The
that's
Dodgers are one of
great-
10 teams.
Crazy.
Wow.
The Dodgers traded for Eduardo Rodriguez. They agreed on a deal,
take-
and Eduardo Rodriguez said no.
I take responsibility for that.
Wow.
He heard me just say I would rather have Jack Flaherty over Erod.
He knew you were going to trash
Yeah.
if he did bad. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. But look, I mean, that's why these guys, like we talked about with Justin Verlander a few seconds ago, when you sign these deals, you signed that $77 million deal with the Detroit Tigers, and he had 10 teams that he could have a no trade clause, and he would have to waive it for. The Dodgers were not one of those teams. My guess is, look, he had leverage in that situation. We know the situation that he's in that he can opt in to the final 3 years and $49 million on his contract. He's technically a guy that if things don't go right, if he gets an injury, he probably would absolutely opt into that. But as it stands right now, if he has a good season and he finishes the season strong, which he has had a really decent year, he would have re-signed another deal somewhere else. So, yeah, that tells me that, one, the Dodgers wanted Eduardo Rodriguez. He fit their profile. We've talked about some of his numbers. Hasn't had a great month. Not a big fastball guy, but above average strikeout rate. When he's on his game. We're talking about a guy who can give you 50% ground balls and do soft contact with the best of him. His cutter is the 10th best cutter in Major League Baseball. We know how much the Dodgers love that pitch right now, how in vogue it is. Misses barrels too. But now they have to go back to the drawing board and kind of pivot. So this could be silver lining here, is that maybe this says the Dodgers say, screw it. You know what? Yeah. We got all the trade capital. We're going to blow this thing up. You know, they get mad and they're going to want to go out there and try to get a Dylan Cease and do whatever they can to get it. But right now, what an interesting wrinkle. The fact that he had 10 teams. Dodgers are one of those teams. Maybe he tried to negotiate with the Dodgers on some type of extension or something like that. That's always a possibility. But yeah, so as of right now, the Dodgers, they don't get their guy. Hopefully they have something up their sleeve, and hopefully they basically go out there and get Dylan Cease, or I mean, Jack Flaherty at this point is a consolation prize.
Yeah, that was a top prize to me. But interesting that Erod would rather stay in Detroit and rot away. Again, I guess you could protect your value. Pitching against the AL Central teams that are really, really bad, continue pitching for a bad team. You know, if he came to the Dodgers, they're going to try to fix some things, tweak some things, and I didn't like the deal with him, the idea of him for a minute, because he did have, like, you're either on the hook for 3 years or he's going to opt out. So how many prospects are you sending? And, you know, you don't know if there's a gentleman agreement or whatever the hell it is, if he promises to not exercise that opt out, or if you even want him on the team for, 3 years and beyond. So I'm kind of happy that one didn't happen. Let's get a couple more of the comments here from people on there. People very confused by the whole situation because Dave Lunas, Erod just blue balled us. W the F. Craig Osterberg agrees that Eduardo Rodriguez is not a winner. We have video of him slamming his glove on the floor. Of course, yeah, the Red Sox came back to win that game, so it's a bad move there. I like this one. Somebody said, where'd it go? Somebody said that he's haunted by that home run to Puig, and maybe he doesn't want to come back to pitching at Dodger Stadium. And we also got a super chat. Hit the button. Seth Gribble, $4.99. He says, D-Mac, I put you onto the Erod trade back on 6/12, but unfortunately he's allergic to winning.
I mean, maybe it was to stay with that poverty franchise and, like you said, increase his trade value. But then on top of that, though, now that teams know that he has vetoed that trade, maybe he doesn't want to stick in traffic and deal with the LA team and maybe face tougher competition on a big stage. But I think ideally, maybe he wants to be in another market. And right now, the teams out there, my assumption would be that you know that he vetoed that trade. Who are those other 20 teams that aren't on that list that could make that trade? Are those contenders out there? The Detroit Tigers are 100% going to trade him. They've already traded Lorenz into the Phillies. They're going to move off of him. And yeah, by the way, kudos to his agent for getting that in there, right?
Yeah, right.
Give the agent a little extra little tip. So yeah, hey, man, do you want to be a Dodger? I hope we face him somewhere and just be, we just absolutely
we're not going to face him if he's on the Tigers. That's for sure.
Let
he's not going to be doing much winning over there in Detroit.
Another super chat from Zeppelin 5 numbers over here. $2 says this isn't a World Series team. Go all in 2024. Sad but true. I don't know about that because they do have some pieces coming back. No other team in the league is adding Clayton Kershaw to their roster in August. No other team potentially is adding Walker Buehler to their roster in September. And there's still an hour till trade deadline.
Well, now they got to pivot.
Now they got to pivot.
These Dodgers got Dylan Cease or Jack Flaherty.
The good thing is now they know the pieces that they want to trade, or they've identified. Obviously, they already had identified the pieces that they would be interested in trading or be willing to trade in a move for one of the top names on the trade market right now. So do you pivot? Do you go to Cease? Do you pivot and go to another guy that's in kind of a similar situation as Erod with Jack Flaherty?
Well, I mean, now that's really the big question. Do you go after the guys that have multiple years of team control that are going to require big hauls to get? Do you pivot to Jack Flaherty, who right now is basically one of the only guys that is on an expiring contract? Now, the issue there is, one, he hasn't been great. Two, he's on the Cardinals. The Cardinals just don't deal with the Dodgers. They don't shake hands with the enemy, the birds on the bat. We know that. Will they find a way to get a deal done? I think it's possible, but at this point, it feels like they were focusing on getting the Rodríguez deal done. It feels like the way they had mapped out this deadline is, okay, you got level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. They had already made the 4 levels with the previous trades with the Joe Kelly, Lance Lynn, Kike, and Ed Rosario. All those trades, it's for a lesser player to a better player. And it feels like now that you don't get Rodríguez, because look, that's already adding 2 starters, right? I mean, my prediction was they made 5 acquisitions. They've already added 2 starters. So you're telling me they would get Rodríguez and a Cease, to me that says that if they got Rodriguez, they're probably done because they already had Lance Lynn. You already still got guys coming back. At some point, it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So
it really is.
I think at this point, these deals, like a Dylan Cease deal, and you talk about this a lot, Clint, is there's deals that are done during the season, then there's deals done in the offseason. And these are under strong consideration. There's not just winning and losing on the line. These presidents of baseball operations, these GMs, their livelihood, their jobs, their legacies on the line. Do you trade such a foundational piece in Dylan Cease, or do you try to keep him and do you try to get more in the offseason? Because technically they don't need to trade him now. He's still going to have a ton of value in the offseason when he still has 2 more years of team control. But I think the Dodgers need to go all after Cease. I don't want to see a ceasefire with him. They need to go all in. And I just think, look, there's FU money. Dodgers have FU prospects. And they need to really flex that muscle right now and show this league that, hey, no one messes with the Dodgers when it comes to getting deals done. But they're going to lose the headline, man. It's going to be a backlash, man.
Hey, they don't play for headlines. This was the year where they weren't playing for the headlines. They took it slow in free agency. They didn't care that they were watching Trey Turner walk. They didn't care that they let Cody Bellinger go, that they let Justin Turner go. This was the year where they wanted to take that kind of, I guess, public perception step back and just let the team do the talking for them. And, I don't care about winning the trade deadline. What you got?
I just got to go through these super chats really quick.
We got more super chats.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to start with one of those old takes exposed, whatever you want to call it. Ahmed Hayward, season 2023, said, "We got Erod, check passing." Unfortunately, I didn't see the bottom part of the tweet that said the deal is dead. Hey, still appreciate the super chat. Hey for $9.99 said, "I'm praying Bobby Miller stays in LA." I mean, unless it's for a Dylan Cease package, he will be staying in LA is my prediction. But with Dylan Cease, you never know. Gonna keep these rolling. We got some more. You said the Seth Gribble one. Thank you, Seth Gribble. Yes. Then we got, this isn't a World Series team. Go all in 2024. You got that one already. But then we got another one. Hey for $9.99 again. Said, "I hope Bobby Miller stays in LA. And if the Dodgers don't trade for Cease, they have given up." That's an interesting take. And then we got 2 more quick ones. Exclamation. Erod didn't want a platter, so don't want to be here. Who doesn't like winning? That's 21 Eric _ LA. Does he not like winning?
Does he not like winning?
And then we got John Bleed in Blue again, $5. I was hoping for the climax, but Andrew Freeman is going to leave Los Angeles with Dodger blue balls. That's kind of funny.
All right, let's quickly recap where we're at so far today. Verlander back to the Astros. We got Michael Lorenzen, the other Tigers pitcher. He's went to the Phillies. Brad Hand to the Braves. We've talked about that a little bit already. Erod staying put, at least not to LA. Maybe could still be traded. It seems like at this point maybe the Tigers do want to get something back from the Rodriguez contract. If they have him, they have also they already sent away Lorenzen, so it makes sense. So on the table, you still got Cease, you still got Keller, you still got Flaherty, and there are hitters. I don't think they go hitters. I don't think the Tommy Pham thing happens, but we have a lot of time.
I think they need a hitter. If JD Martinez is going to the IL, which I'm assuming he is,
we already kind of figured that one.
I think he needs a hitter. So
let me spit a little bit here on Jack Flaherty, because you're high on the Dodgers being able to fix Lance Lynn or whatever, but you're down on the idea of them being able to fix Jack Flaherty, who, it's been a while since he's been a plus major league starter. 2019 was the last time he was fully healthy in a season. He put up a 2.75 ERA. Otherwise, he's been solid and coming to. We understand that maybe the Cardinals back in the day, and I know you think they don't like doing a deal with the devil, but the Cardinals back in the day had a better sort of front office to be able to work on their pitching, but that seems to not be as much of the case anymore as where the Dodgers could get Flaherty. It makes sense. It's an expiring contract, something they like. They're not married to the idea, but it adds somebody with, in my opinion, extreme upside. But I know you agree less on the Flaherty.
I mean, if you just look at some of his numbers, there's nothing that really points to, okay, if you make some mechanical adjustments, if you do something here, something there, that he's going to really be a guy who's going to be a number 2 or 3 starter. I think at best he's a number 3 starter. I think I could see him be an upgrade to Tony Gonsolin, who I would drive to the airport in the trade. I'm not against that, but the walks are high, the spin rate the four-seam fastball that he's throwing this year that really has been a pitch that has been a good pitch for him in the past.
He's also thrown to a bad catcher. Just want to throw that out
That's
there.
a great point, man. That's definitely a great point. But
I do not like Wilson Contreras there.
I mean, opponents are hitting 304 on his four-seam fastball. So, I mean, some of those numbers that they just don't point to a real big-time positive regression to the mean. I'm not saying if they didn't, let's say they trade Flaherty and he goes to the Dodgers, I could see him being better here because I expect all these guys that are on bad teams to perform better when you have the coaching of the Dodgers. That to me is a given, but I just don't think he raises the ceiling. He's not the needle mover that they're after. It's like Christmas in 1998 and you're expecting a Nintendo 64 and you get a sweater from your grandma, right? He's the sweater from your grandma, right? We need the Nintendo 64 where the kid's going crazy, Nintendo 64, right? That is what Dylan Cease could possibly be. That is the caliber of pitcher that he is. But I do think that he does check the box that you're looking at as far as if the Rodríguez deal is any indication in an expiring contract. Of course, we talked about the possibility of him opting into the final 3 years. Flaherty is a complete rental, so he wouldn't hurt them in the future. I forgot what the commenter said, 2024. If you're looking ahead to 2024,
2025.
and was that?
They might have said 2025.
No, we're talking about something different.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
The Dodgers.
You guys keep going.
Oh, just in general. Why'd you hide behind under the? Your head's too big. But yeah, I mean that could be a way to look at it because at this point, the Dodgers, they need help any way they can get it from their starting rotation. You hope that guys like Julio Urias will return to form, but the reality is just that, I mean, they're 26th in innings pitched. Their starters are 26th in innings pitched. That's not going to get it done.
Very bad. And some of that's on Dave and the way he manages
the
rotation and all that. But
by the way, I will say, you know who's last? The Atlanta Braves. So they just do things a different way. So, but any of that kind of offense, that kind of bullpen, you can make up for it. But yeah, I just think that at this point in the game, no start. I mean, yeah, you said not getting another bat. I mean, I thought that was a part of the plan. I mean, is Rosario going to solve those problems? I think that he's going to definitely be a plus bat against lefties. I think he's someone that's going to have some success. Kike looks better here than he did in Boston. But yeah, you would hope they would go out there. I mean, Tommy Pham, will that happen? Who knows? We talked about this on this show at the beginning of June, where we read off the stats on Tommy Pham, and everyone said, wow, it sounds pretty good. A plus bat, hits lefties. He's on expiring contract. Then I told everyone it was Tommy Pham. You guys were like, hell no, Tommy Pham. I mean, the comments.
So you're saying you'd take a stab at it?
I take a step. Wow.
Jesus.
Could be a family feud. Like I said.
All right, we're done here.
Is the Jock Peterson. Hey, and also, too, I mean, they also have the fantasy football league for the Dodgers. Imagine him in that fantasy football league. He could get it with Jock Peterson.
You get angry.
Yeah. It's not like he missed. He hit. You know, if he was missing Jock's face, I'd be
I
mad.
got 3 super chats.
Three
super
super
chats.
Let's go. Hit that super
This
chat
is
button.
unbelievable.
All right, we got 3 super chats.
Literally
we got
can't believe it.
1,500 people in the live stream. We got 200 likes.
1,500.
We need to get
Yes, sir.
300 likes, and the Dodgers are going to make a trade. That's what I heard. So
That's what Andrew just told me
Freeman
that.
just said when we get 300 likes.
Let's get to 1,000 likes. There's a challenge.
All right, so 1,000 likes, and the Dodgers will get Dylan Cease and Shohei Ohtani. All right, we're going to start with some super chats. Hey, $4.99 said Dodgers lineup dropped and then gave us the lineup. Mook, Freddie, Will, Ahmed, Max, CD3, Outman, Kike, Rojas, and Lance Lynn pitching. Yep, that's the lineup tonight.
Fear the beard.
Now the World 138, $1.99 super chat says, who chooses Detroit over LA?
Right.
Erod is a fool. That's a good take. That's a good take.
Hey, I'll make that
That's
the
a
Hornitos.
Taker.
Drink responsibly. Drink Hornitos.
Then we got
just like
Dustin Dugan, who said Sheen, Pepio, Knack, and Bush for Cease. F it, burn the boats, or F it and let's all go home. So
yes.
that's a big trade proposal, and I like it a lot. And one more quick super chat. Roberto Ramirez, $1.99. Don't see a message to go with it. So Roberto, thank you for supporting the stream. We almost have 300 likes. So I'm going to actually up it. Andrew Freeman says 400 likes and the Dodgers will make a trade.
Whatever it takes to
400
get
likes
Dylan
and the
Cease.
Dodgers will make a trade.
You know what?
yeah.
I'm beginning to think that you're embellishing. That
No,
you're
sorry.
not talking to Andrew.
What was 500 likes. Okay,
It's
500 likes. Final
500.
answer.
500.
Andrew, go get
FaceTime
go
him.
get Dylan Cease. Okay, I just let him know.
So listen to Diane Schroeder. She said, smash that like button, all of you. So Doug, I know you prefer your angle is Cease. I fully get it because you do get more team control, and this is clearly a starting rotation that's going to need help in 2024. You don't know if Julio's. I mean, the way he's pitching, he's probably going to be back, but you don't know if Julio's going to be back. You don't know if Kershaw is going to be a Ranger, a Tiger, a Ranger retired or a Dodger. We kind of still don't really know what the hell is going to come of Walker Buehler after his second surgery. I don't foresee him fallen off a cliff, but you know that's maybe just hope or whatever. We know Kike can't pitch because we've seen that in the past. This is a team that definitely feels like it needs somebody that they could hold on to, and they could do that with Cease and you know, maybe work out an extension. But riff on Cease for a while.
I mean, I think the thing with Cease, the number one thing is that the future is not guaranteed. It's completely uncertain, and you can feel good about whatever he does for this team this year, but also he is in a Dodgers uniform. I don't know how much Dylan Cease you guys have seen, but we're talking about one of the most electric pitchers in the game. When he's on his game, virtually unhittable. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was second in the AL Cy Young Award voting back in 2022. This year, to begin the year, wasn't off to a great start. If you look at his ERA+, he's just slightly above average, but since June 1st, he's been one of the best pitchers in the game. Fastball velocity in the 78th percentile, fastball spin, 95th percentile, whip percentage, 80th percentile, 77th percentile in K percentage, and that is something, that is a dynamic, that's a club that this rotation hasn't had in its bag since Prime Walker Buehler, is a guy that can challenge hitters in the zone, that just can rear back, boom. Yeah. Strikeout hitters in big situations.
He's got that dog in him.
He's got that absolute dog for sure. And he misses barrels, his expected slug. I mean, I think he's been getting hit a little hard this year during certain stretches, but you're talking about a guy that'd be under team control for a couple years. You have your ace locked in. Let's forget about Shohei Ohtani for the moment because no one can guarantee that. If you don't get Shohei Ohtani, there's not a lot of free agents they would feel comfortable giving $200, $300 million for. Now, here's the thing, too. The name of the game in Major League Baseball right now is position players that are above average, that are on at an elite level. The Xander Bogaerts, the Aaron Judges, the Devers, the Machados, they're getting 10, 11-year deals, right? The pitchers, Rodon got a 6-year deal, right? To get this premium talent, you're going to have to pay big. The Dodgers, they have the prospect capital.
Pay big, pay long.
Exactly. Yeah. And they get paid, and then you have no flexibility to make moves if those guys don't work out, right? If they get injured. So
because then you get guys like Erod who want an opt-out in their deal, and they also want a no-trade clause and all this kind of stuff, and you're just stuck.
Exactly. You're stuck with those guys. It's tough to make moves on the margins. It's tough to make moves completely. And I think, too, if you're Dylan Cease, if he's truly available, you got to go Godfather. You know, you got to make him an offer. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. I'm going to make him an offer.
You have going and leaning in the movie references last 2 days. I appreciate it. Mash that thumbs up for Doug McKain, ladies 500 and gentlemen.
Guys.
Hey, yeah, no.
That's what Andrew said.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, that's the thing. The Dodgers, they need, you know, do or do not. There is no try. Friedman, trade you make.
Thanks for stopping by, guys. Like and subscribe.
Okay, my point is, though, that I think
you broke Gary. Look at that. You broke Gary.
Hey, I'm just saying.
He's hiding now.
I'm just saying, when you have, like I said, the problem I have is these teams out there.
Worse than the headphones.
These
That's why I'm not wearing them.
These teams out there that are going out there making moves, they don't have the luxury what the Dodgers have. Like I said, lots of really good players potentially. Not a lot of guys that profile as stars. You got to go down to like the Josue DePaulas, right? I think Diego Cartaya. I know a lot of people are really down on Cartaya, but if it came to trading Rushing or Cartaya, I would still keep Cartaya because Cartaya has that star upside. Okay,
then he's your friend.
And he's my friend. That's the most important thing. But yeah, if you look at some of the worst trades in Dodgers history, you're always going to have that risk. There's always going to be that risk. There's always going to be the Delino DeShields for Pedro Martinez, right? We're going to talk about, but look at Manny Machado. Did Yasniel Diaz do anything? He's back in the organization. Oh, Paul Canarco.
I trust Andrew Friedman when it comes to assessing that kind of. Andrew Friedman has.
I remember when Steve Lyons broke that trade on Fox Baseball. So
Andrew Friedman has had 2 bad trades in his tenure, and even one, like, they didn't know what Yordan Alvarez was going to be.
They traded the wrong out. They should have traded Yadier Alvarez, right? They traded. The funny about
they had literally just signed him. He had never played an inkling of professional ball for the team when they sent him away. Yeah, it sucks that it was for Josh Fields.
And Fields had 2 solid years for what they were looking for.
But it didn't. It didn't amount to anything for sure.
But the funny thing is when they tried to make that deal, the Dodgers thought they wanted Yadier Alvarez, right? They thought they wanted him, and the Dodgers were like, no way, like he's one of our top prospects, and they're like, no, the other one. They're, you can keep him. Can you imagine if they just got that wrong correctly? I mean, so that's always going to be the case.
By Farhan.
A little clerical error, something like that. It would have definitely been good. One of the best power hitting lefties that we've seen in the modern day. But yeah, I do think that you're always going to have that risk. But the good thing about this Dodgers team is, like I was saying a few weeks ago, this team can continue. Whatever happens, they can lose a handful of their prospects, but they continue to just rebuild that farm system because they have the skills, they have the resources, they have the depth. Other organizations don't care about what their minor leaguers are eating in the sports science and the development. The Dodgers, they invest so much money. Like I was saying a few weeks ago, they usually studies show that when a millionaire loses his money, he makes back that million faster than he did the first time because you can take the money away, but you can't take the skill away. Dodgers have this skill to bring back these prospects. So that's why, hey, if it comes down to parting ways with a Bobby Miller for a Dylan Cease, I think this organization might consider doing it. But I will say that the fact that it was such a late basically at the buzzer where Rodriguez, they need to superimpose Friedman on the Rodriguez slamming the glove. Where he's slamming the glove after the Puig home run, because now it just doesn't seem like this organization is very meticulous and carefully crafting their deals is going to say, okay, no Rodriguez. Okay, now let's give half our farm for Cease. It just doesn't feel likely, so they don't really make rash decisions.
One thing also to note, there is something in the works right now because we didn't know anything about the Erod trade until it was shut down. So there's always something in the works. Andrew Friedman and his front office, they love working in the quiet, in the silence, and staying off the radar. Bob Nightingale tweeted about 7 minutes ago, we're coming up on 2:15 p.m. in the afternoon, 2:14. Just turned the clock. But
I was getting ready to do a shoey in my Jackie Robinson dunks.
Sounds like we need some super chats.
Only for a big trade.
All right, I'll allow it if they get Cease. I'll only allow it.
Yeah.
And a super chat. And we got 500 likes.
For Flaherty, I'll take like a sip of water.
Really quickly, though.
Hold on. I just want
you finish up, and I'll go to super chat.
I was going to say, Bob Nightingale said, this is that time of year of season in the trade deadline where everybody they just keep saying like the most obvious. Well, Bob did that. It's like now the Dodgers have been rebuffed for Tiger starter Eduardo Rodriguez.
Wow.
The asking price for St. Louis Cardinals starter Jack Flaherty and White Sox ace Dylan Cease certainly rises. The Dodgers still want one more starter.
Breaking
again.
News.
Yeah,
I'm terrified. I'm legitimately terrified.
It's like, hey, this just in. Tomorrow the sun will come up sometime in the morning.
I got some super chats.
Hit that super chat button. Dance. He doesn't know whether or not to button or unbutton.
We are going to sprint through these super chats because you guys are the absolute best.
Thank you, guys.
Starting with Siege Roofs, $5. Keep the chambers loaded. Go after Ohtani this offseason. Use those trade pieces for a 2024 push. Trade out the prospects you see losing value. Yeah, that's always a good thing to do. Trade the prospects you think are going to get worse. You want to sell high. We got another one here from Daniel Macy. D-Mac for manager. Love you guys. Go Dodgers. That's $199. Thank you, Daniel Lacey. Ahmed Hayward, season 2023. Third super chat. He said, you guys know how willing we are to trade Cartaya. You want to quickly answer that?
I think for the right person, I think he's available. But, we'll see. They would also have to be selling him on the low where his stock's not at its best.
It seems like it's hard for to me, it feels like it would be hard for this team to trade 2 top catching prospects within a 3-year span.
That's a great point, for sure. And we know how high they are in Cartaya. I think they understand the upside.
Will Smith could get hurt at some point. You also don't know if he's going to be around for the rest of eternity. Maybe they find a way to move one of them to a different position.
Someone start getting that third base glove. Just trying to work out there.
Played at Louisville. Played it last year.
I've said it here before. Say it again. I was at the game where Russell Martin came out of the dugout and ran to third base after Nomar got hurt again in 2007 or 8, whatever it was. It was glorious. It was magical. It was something fun.
Russell Martin was Shohei Ohtani before Shohei Ohtani.
Yes,
let's be honest.
Yeah.
One more.
He looks up to him.
Yeah, for
Super chat. Lorenzo Gaddis, $10. Thank you, Lorenzo. You're in the stream all the time.
Big ones.
He said, when everyone was screaming for Giolito, I didn't understand it. We have the prospects. We should have went for Cease. I still think AF has an ace up his sleeve, pun intended. Well, you got 43 minutes, Andrew Freeman, to get that ace up your sleeve. Let's see if you can do it.
DKM is also asking Doug for the jacket, so you're going to have to ship it to DKM after the stream. No, put it back on. It's part of the allure.
This is Blucci, not Gucci, Blucci. Okay? It's very expensive. High dollar stuff.
Let's see.
I got you, though.
So somebody said sell the team chance are going to be heard at Dodger Stadium tonight. It's going to be, if you hear it, it's going to be because of the A's.
Unless the Dodgers don't make a trade.
Is there a reality? We'll throw to you for a second. Do you think there's a reality where they do not make a trade?
I think that they were kind of focusing on the Eduardo Rodriguez one, and now that one's gone, they're probably scrambling. So, with the deadline in 42 minutes, I think the plan all along was to make one more trade, if not 2 more trades. But they were spending a lot of time talking to the Tigers.
Yeah.
And now that trade fell through, and clearly it fell through because Jeff Passan said that it was agreed upon. Now that I think they're scrambling, and when the price goes up for Cease and Flaherty, Now they're like, is this going to be worth it? So now there's a reality where a trade's not made in 42 minutes.
I hope.
I mean, recently LA Times did say it's plan A was Verlander, plan B was Rodriguez, plan C is nobody.
Yep.
Hopefully C for Cease, but I mean, we'll see. I don't know if that's the case.
C
But I think
for C
that's a
Flaherty.
great point. The fact that we did have those laid out.
See me about
You didn't get Verlander. He's back in Houston. Cincinnati, apparently. I'm saying Cincinnati was an option for Verlander because they had the prospects. Maybe Kate Upton didn't like Skyline Chili. I don't know what it was, but that didn't come to fruition. That didn't materialize. And then you look at right now what they're dealing with. I mean, one thing that surprises me, Clint, I mean, you don't think Mookie and JD and these guys they used to play with, Rodriguez, could try to sell him on the fact?
Really
I mean,
good point.
Why did it's a head scratcher.
That's purely a financial thing.
Yeah.
There's probably something there where he's worried about his future earnings, his future potential. Coming to a team that is playing the best teams, could go to the postseason, could cost him money. He has a couple of bad starts. That changes everything.
I think that's a really good point because they're going to work him like a rented mule if they made that trade. The fact that he's a rental, it's like a used car. The fastest car he drives is a used car. That'd be the case with him. If he just kind of gracefully ends the season, exactly right. This is a guy. He's got a lead foot. Let's just put it that way, right? Very fast. But
known too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just very. I mean, I'm so interested and curious to see if we can get a leak of the Dodgers offer.
Yeah, that's
at
what
the
I
very
want.
least.
I
give me
really
that.
want to see what
at
that
the very
was.
least. I'll do a shoey for the leak at this point.
We're doing anything for a shoe at this point.
mean,
we just
at
want to
this
see
point-
Andrew
something.
Friedman, please leak on Doug McKain.
It's been a long day of nothing. Really
Please.
quickly, super chat from none other than Massimo Buffon, who was in the stream a lot yesterday.
What's up, Massimo?
Hit
Rocking with
it.
us. Appreciate you. You guys are the best fans in the game.
Massimo Buffon was here a lot yesterday for the stream. $5. Dodgers need to get Cease and or Jack. If we don't make a deal, this deadline will be a bust. I don't know how far we can go with this rotation and bullpen. I mean, yeah, this rotation is not made for postseason right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Clayton Kershaw, he's injured right now. Julio Urias is having his worst career year. Tony Gonsolin is struggling mightily. And you saw what happened last year when he couldn't handle in the postseason. We don't know what happens with Walker Buehler. Bobby Miller, to me, is really the only number one trustworthy guy, and that's saying a lot because he's a rookie. And then Lance Lynn, who knows what he's going to do. So the Dodgers need another arm in the next 40 minutes, or else their rotation could be in deep trouble because Ryan Pepiot is not going to save them.
And you worry about some of those innings limits. These are really uncharted waters for a lot of these rookie pitchers. I think really
right there.
Sheehan's
And there's
right there.
2 months left.
And it's 2
plus
months
postseason.
Yeah, and I still think the explosion on that fastball. I would like to see him in the bullpen over Tony Gonsolin if they end up keeping him both. But yeah, I think at some point, I'm not ready to go there yet, right? I'm not ready to go there yet, but at some point we are going to have to break down where this rotation is with just the addition of Lance Lynn and what kind of chance could they have.
We actually have an article about that out right now, DodgersNation.com. Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be really the case at this point. I think we'll pivot to, can Lance Lynn look good tonight? Can he perform? Can he get better?
Either way, they're doing that. They're hoping for that. Lance Lynn, for as bad of a year as he's had, he also has that. He has that postseason it factor to him. Even if he hasn't pitched that much in the postseason in his career, if at all. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't look those stats up. But he's the guy. He shouts. He grabs his nuts when he strikes dudes out. Like that plays up in the postseason. Also can become very memeable very quick when you give up a long dong. So let's recap right now. We got 40 minutes until trade deadline. Again, Verlander off the table to the Astros. Lorenzen off the table to the Phillies. Ostensibly, Eduardo Rodriguez off the table.
Yeah.
He said no thank you. Brad Hand, he's off the table. We didn't mention yet today the Padres acquired old friend Rich Hill
out of
and
nowhere.
G-Man Choi. So
Best splits in the game, best stretch.
That's not going to really help them that much. If anything, like Noah and I were talking before we went live here, it makes sense for the Padres to move Seth Lugo back into the bullpen where he's excelled in his career as well. They have Michael Wacha coming back, so they're building up something there a little bit.
Kind of a weird move.
I don't know where G-Man Choi goes unless they move Cronenworth to the outfield, but it says they're not selling though.
Yeah, they're not selling, but also it's not like they're buying big. I mean, Rich Hill was not a splash. He has a 4.79 ERA.
He's
really
thrown 119 innings.
That's the
though.
thing.
They need innings.
I mean, the Dodgers needed an inning more than anything. So,
but Richie wasn't really a needle mover coming back to LA.
No, he was not.
They already had enough. I said I didn't want any Dodgers old Dodgers coming back, and then there was 2. I would have been okay with just Joe Kelly, but beyond that, still on the market. Cease, Keller, Flaherty. What you got?
Really quickly, John Bleeding Blue, $5 super chat. Didn't say anything, so
He just said dance.
We appreciate Doug. Damn. We appreciate the love from
He's so
John
demanding when he's
Bleed and
back
Black. That's
behind
your
the
third
microphone.
one. Thank you, John Bleed. We got a lot of power with the microphone.
Yes, sir.
I think I knew $2 that it's too late for trades. Prices are inflated now. I mean, yeah, that's why the Dodgers went last week and made 3 trades, got 4 players because they knew the prices would only go up. And now, yeah, it could be too late. Polo Tostado. $4.99. I hate to be morbid, but I feel like no trade will be done just because the price of Cease and Keller will be higher. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. With 30 minutes to go, the Dodgers are desperate. They lose Rodríguez. The prices just go up, and the Dodgers, they like their prospects, so we'll see what happens.
I will argue the Dodgers are never desperate.
That's
never
fair,
seen
too.
this team make a
That's
desperate
fair,
move.
too.
We've talked a lot about Flaherty. We talked a lot about Cease. We haven't really gone in too much on Mitch Keller, which kind of became a bigger name overnight as it was mentioned on radio last night. What do you think about the Keller situation? Obviously, not as good as Dylan Cease. Doesn't have the track record, but he does come with. He's an all-star this year. He has 2 years of team control. He's a warm human body that can still throw the baseball for hopefully 5, 6, 7 innings every 5th day. What do you think about a potential Keller? And let's explore that a bit.
He's really, really good. I mean, I don't think that he's the needle mover that you look for a postseason veteran that's kind of ready to put a team on his back. I don't think that.
There was only one of those guys. That was only Verlander, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Verlander, Cease. I mean, I think, yeah, those are the two. I think Rodríguez, could have had some pretty solid postseason starts, but he doesn't like winning, so forget him.
Hey.
But I will say, when Keller, I mean, he's another guy that I think says a lot about how this team feels about their current prospects and that they're willing to part ways with a good handful of them to get them. And also, too, when you look at that Pittsburgh team, there's other guys that could possibly help them, that could package to send him back. But Mitch Keller's a really good pitcher. I mean, limits hard contact, not excellent at missing barrels, but above average when it comes to striking out hitters, is above average when it comes to his walk rate. There's a lot to like for sure. Has one of the best 4-seam fastballs in baseball when it comes to run value. So we know the Dodgers, how much they like that. They like fastball spin. He brings that. Is he someone that this season you say, okay, it's on? Where are the Braves at? Let's go. I would say no, but he's someone that if you're going to trade for him, he's not the name that's going to break the internet, but when you look in, you pop the hood, you kind of look under that hood, you say, okay, this is a really, really good pitcher, a top 25 pitcher in Major League Baseball that could ascend even higher in this Dodgers organization that knows how to develop pitching. But I will say, kind of getting back to your point, like you said, that they're kind of scrambling right now. I agree. I think Rodríguez, they thought that was done. They thought, okay, guys, let's go home. We did our deadline. We got our players. We're good. But at the very least, if those rumors are true, if there's validity to those rumors about Mitch Keller, you would have to believe that there's been at least names that have exchanged. They've had conversations about certain packages. So that's something they could pivot on versus Dylan Cease. A move like that for a player of that caliber, that takes hours to hash out, to iron out and kind of flesh out.
Very quickly, Tommy Pham looks like he's been traded. Mike Puma, the New York Post.
But we don't know where?
We don't know where, but he said he poked his head into the manager's office wearing street clothes, then left. So it looks like Tommy Pham has been moved. That's Mike Puma of the New York Post reporting that. We don't know where yet, though. But that's obviously something to watch because the Dodgers have been linked to him as well as some other teams.
Well, let me ask you guys down in the comment section because we've talked about Pham on this show for a few months now. Are you guys in or out on Tommy Pham? You want to see him join the Dodger family? I mean, do you guys want to see him in Dodger blue? Let us know down below because that would be one where, yeah, Mitch Keller, of course, is a bigger name, but if they get Tommy Pham, that's one that breaks the internet for the Dodgers because of his history, because of course, the Jock Peterson slap. But, I mean, we'll see.
Can he pitch?
Can he pitch? Can he catch? Can he back up catch?
Can he back up catch? There you
no,
go.
We got out on Pham from JKid323. No from Romero. We got Rebecca. I'm out on Pham. Tav Moore says all in on Pham. I.E. Doyer. The Astros make very few moves and keep winning. Dodgers fans need to chill. Fair point, but they also made some big moves as well, too. I mean, but they have also developed really good talent that's really contributed, and they've stayed healthy. But yes, on Pham, that's from Diane Schroeder. Fire the GM from Alberto Z. Hey, he can still keep his job. He has 30 minutes to see if he can keep his job. No, I'm just playing, but we're not the buzzer yet. It's a no from me, dogs, in the words of the great Randy Jacks from Jorge over there. We got I Say in from Conservative Zach. Chris P. Pham quit. Pham is going back to SD. Joe Mama, no Pham. Is that a fact? Is Pham going back to San Diego?
It doesn't say yet. Oh, Colton Wong is saying goodbyes in the clubhouse, too. So it looks like Colton Wong's been traded also.
Wait, where is Wong these days?
Mariners still?
Yeah.
That's right. They did trade.
So Colton Wong looks like he's been traded from Seattle, who's selling, it looks like, this deadline.
Selling?
And then also Tommy Pham. I don't see where Pham's been traded yet. Maybe somebody else has.
Yeah. Was good, Pham.
I'll keep an eye on that while you read off. We got a bunch of super chats popping in right now. So I want you to
super chats. We're gonna go all the way to the top here. We're gonna dance. Doug, dance.
Look, you got to dance for the people.
Okay, I'm still going to the top here. Okay, we saw that one. We're starting with Francisco Diaz again, $9.99. Thank you. I wanted to throw my computer at the wall as hard as Erod threw his glove after that Puig home run, but I'm at work and can't afford to get fired. Hopefully Freeman pulls a last-second buzzer beater. Yeah, you know, we're hoping for that last-second Max Scherzer, Trey Turner type buzzer beater trade. Jacob Gomer, $10. Is it positive regression or progression? Gonna enjoy the deadline in my new Hershiser jersey. Go Dodgers. Love that positivity from Jacob. And then we got another one, David Catalano, $2. I don't see a message with it. So David, thank you very much for the support via the super chat. And I think we got another one down here. I'm scrolling down. You guys are awesome in the comments. Pred439. The Dodgers aren't going to make any more moves. We won't compete well in October. And this season will be looked at largely as a failure. So very negative, but also, you know, understandable. I mean, fans want to see another move. Then we got Pred439 again, $4.99. Thank you. He said, could have had Verlander if they had been willing to part with prospects, but instead we prefer to keep 26-year-olds in the farm system.
Let him ride.
Not a bad point. Massimo Buffon, again, $2. Gus Varlin, Michael Grove, Emmett Sheen, Gavin Stone, and Landon Knack for Cease. So that's a huge trade proposal.
Wait, say it one more time.
He said Varland, Grove, Sheen, Stone, and Knack. Those last three is a lot to give up. You don't think so?
I don't think I'll get it done. For Cease, maybe throw in the Santa Monica Pier and Disneyland and the Grauman's Chinese Theater, Hollywood Sign, but I don't think that will get it done.
All right,
I mean, they have such a position of power. It is the absolute seller's market, and they're going to take full advantage. I think that's why it kind of makes sense if you're the White Sox. Like, blow us away or we're good. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
That's exactly what they should. One more quick one from Dylan Vakis, and this is a little
What's up, Dylan?
This is a little pun. Sorry, Daniel Vakis. Daniel,
What's up, Daniel?
I'm sorry.
Dylan?
I'm sorry for saying your name wrong.
Daniel.
Daniel.
I love that worked out, and he just like
the one time he's ever said hi to someone, I said his name wrong.
Best friend.
Daniel, Daniel. I'm saying that right.
Shout out to
Daniel
Noel.
Vakis. He said we need another starter ASAP. When they announced Thor, they made it seem like we were getting Legos. Instead, we got Mega Blocks. Hashtag Noah Cinder Block. We got almost 2,000 people in the stream. We got almost 500 likes. Once we hit 500, we're going to get that
That's
trade.
when trade happens.
Ahmed Hayward, season 2023, $2 again, fourth of the day. Puig launches, left field. Goodbye. Eduardo Rodriguez slams his glove. We are officially
Kobe.
30 minutes until the trade deadline. The Dodgers, all they've done is not get Eduardo Rodriguez.
Don't forget, things can still happen slightly after. You just have to be on the phone with the league office and be like, hey, yo, we're trying to get this figured out. Give us like 2 minutes. I'll call you back by You know, that's kind of how these things worked. It was essentially in the 11th minute or 11th hour, whatever we want to say, when it came to Scherzer, when it came to getting Trey Turner to the Dodgers in 2021. A note on the Eduardo Rodriguez coming through on the Twitter sphere. Apparently, his preference was to pitch on the East Coast. He wanted to be close to family.
West Coast, the best coast.
I guess family is more important than winning, but not to Doug McKain, that's for sure.
Let's go,
man.
The Texas Rangers acquired Austin Hedges from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
So that was about to happen.
So that
don't
one,
know what's going back
Mark
there yet.
We don't know what's going back, but the Rangers continuing to add, and that backup catcher will not be coming to the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers, man, they are doing some moves.
It's
if anything,
awesome.
that's kind of, I mean, eventually they're going to get Corey Seager back, but that's kind of a team where if you get to the World Series, that's absolutely a club you got to worry about. It's kind of Rangers, it's kind of Astros, and then Rays again? But they haven't been good in months. They've been pretty much a 500 team for the last 2-3 months. Have the Rays. So watch out for them Rangers. Hey, that's my AL team. Let's go. And I'm not rooting for the Dodgers. I'm rooting for the Rangers.
You've been rocking with them for a minute now. You got to give you that for sure.
You know about that. When you cover the Dodgers day to day for your life and for your living, you kind of fall out of love with baseball.
We just got breaking news.
Breaking.
Andrew Freeman says if the stream gets 600 likes, he'll make a trade.
600 likes. You guys heard the man. Do you want to win or not?
I just got a text. I mean, he looked me straight in the eye and said
winning?
That. So that's all I'm hearing. We're at 475 right now.
You also said $1,000 in super chats though.
No, listen. Don't listen to these people. I feel
Doug
bad.
said that.
Don't ask for things.
I mean, I'm just asking for likes. I mean, likes are free. Likes are free. We got over 500, so we're getting close to that trade, guys. We're getting very close. We're having fun. We got 28 more minutes. You know, can I ask you guys a question? Give me a bold prediction for the last 28 minutes.
I'm just going to try to manifest it, even though I don't actually believe it. I'm going to say Dylan Cease, the Dodgers find a way to pull off a trade. I don't believe that in my heart of hearts, but if that doesn't happen, we're going to have Oral Hershiser come out of the booth and pitch for this team. So
let me just ask about the Cease. You said that package wasn't enough. What do you think would be a package? Even though you don't think it's going to happen, what's a package that you think would
I think you got to really just either load up on some of those pitching prospects as far as everyone not named Bobby Miller is available. Stone, Pepio, hopefully they want a big league ready guy like Gonsolin. And then the Josue DePaula, who they've been trying to, I've heard from some sources, they've been trying to build his stock in the last couple of weeks. So if that's something, source hashtag trust me, bro. But seriously, they have been trying to increase his stock. So if they could find a way to get a deal done with that, that's kind of how you have to do it with Emmett Sheehan, Andy Paz. So there's definitely certain prospects who could get a deal done, but I just think that it's going to who else is going to be available too? So it's going to be tough, but I think that they have to absolutely get a deal done to get another starter. But I do feel like the Rodríguez pulled the rug out from underneath them, and that was a blind. You would think that a pitcher doesn't want to go to the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A pitcher,
Yeah.
doesn't want to go to sunny Los Angeles, play with this organization where you can compete for a title. By the way, the Dodgers play the Detroit Tigers in September.
Yeah, September 19th.
Hopefully, Erod is.
Tommy
Pham move somewhere else.
If the Dodgers end up trading for Pham, they have a resident in-house slapper.
Exactly.
But the latest on Pham, John Heyman mentions 3 minutes ago, Twins looking at righty bats, Pham a possibility. So if he's having a meeting.
It sounds like he's gotten traded, so maybe it's minutes. Really quickly, we got a super chat.
Oh,
Doug, dance. Noah Ortega in the stream again, $4.99. Teams don't want to trade with the Dodgers because they're afraid that we will become too powerful to stop in the future since we're getting Ohtani. I like that. I like that. That's how we're manifesting Ohtani. I mean, obviously, teams want the Dodgers prospects, so it's not about, maybe an NL West division rival wouldn't want. Blake Snell's not coming to the Dodgers. Josh Hader's not coming to the Dodgers. But, I kind of like the manifesting Ohtani. And we just got a huge super chat from Jose Alvarez, $19.99.
Thank you, guys.
Watching from Germany. I don't know what time it is there, but it's probably somewhere around midnight. Let's go Dodgers. Let's go front office. Thank you very much, Jose. And then we also got another one from Frankie SRT, $199. AF knows all eyes on him. He's cooking a big trade. 26 minutes plus, a little after the deadline. Let's see if he has let's see if he's cooking a big trade.
Is he? Is he cooking top ramen? Or is he cooking a T-bone
You're cooking
steak?
top ramen. He's cooking a quesadilla with Cholula
Here's a question
sauce.
for you guys. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
If this is how this deadline done, if this is how this deadline turns out, if he doesn't make any significant impact moves.
We did pose the question in the chat on YouTube.
And I put it on Twitter. Follow at Dodgers Nation on Twitter, too.
Ding. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're a little too premature to kind of evaluate Andrew Friedman, but still, I will say that he has a lot riding on this deadline. And I think one thing I will say, too, is if there's no more impact moves made, if this is what we got, if we got Kike Hernandez, Rosario, Lance Lynn, and Joe Kelly, those are nice pickups that can help this team. There's no doubt about that. But this will also mean that 2 years with the expanded postseason, the second year in a row, that Andrew Friedman hasn't made a big deal, that he has been unwilling to part ways with prospects in this market. Well, I got news for you. This is Major League Baseball in 2023. This is Major League Baseball from now until the future. You're going to have a very competitive market. It's always going to be a seller's market with the expanded postseason. If this was a couple years ago, the Dodgers have already made a trade at this point. But we have to realize that this is not the world we're living in at this point. Andrew Friedman, if you're going to make a move, you're going to have to part ways with some of these prospects and gut some of that farm system. So it's just a little bizarre to me after what happened last season. And you saw in the postseason that was not a sustainable way to win, that they were going 5 innings, turn and burn on their starters. You start Gonsolin instead of Tyler Anderson. You take Tyler Anderson out when you did in Game 4. That's the other way to look at it is if you trade for a starter, will Dave Roberts take him out in the 5th inning, right? Yeah. What I was saying is if you get Verlander for that 140 innings, every time he goes 5, you pull him from the game, right? So trying to keep you from doing that. But I think he has a lot riding on this deadline here. When it's pencils down, if this is it, this is going to be underwhelming. This is going to be disappointing, especially when you look at the veteran nucleus you have right now. Yes, there's guys that are a little banged up. JD Martinez, Mookie, Will Smith, they're banged up. There's nothing serious.
They need a little more help.
They need more help. You can't rely on your 1 through 5 to win every single game. You're not going to out-homer your opponents. The Dodgers are 4-19 this year in games where they don't hit a home run. They're a very home run reliant team that doesn't have the pitching staff that I think can compete for a World Series title as it stands. I mean, pretty much it's Walker Buehler, you're our only hope, right? And if that's the case, and that's really where you want to.
And they did that in 21.
They did.
They essentially did that in 21, and it did not work because 2 weeks after the deadline, Tommy John surgery. So that does not work out. Shout out Noah Camras for bringing that one up back online. But so I saw somebody said, I missed the name, so I apologize, but somebody said, let Andrew Friedman cook. And that's what he's doing right now. He's preparing the meal. Whether or not he leaves it on too long and the customer leaves, we don't know. You know, I've been watching, some Gordon Ramsay here in the late night, so it's always fun. But I just threw together, jotted down with that chicken scratch here. I threw together a Dylan Cease. And maybe in this, if we add one more of these names in this, maybe there's a Tim Anderson addition to it. But just throwing names at paper, I am not smart at this. I am not a general manager, but I had fun saying Stone, Sheehan, Bush, Ronan Kopp, and maybe Maddox Bruns feels like too much. But do you think Stone, Sheehan, Bush, and Ronan Kopp get a Dylan Cease done?
I think for one, I would try to. I think so. Bruns is the one guy that actually I think has real serious superstar potential if he can figure out the walk situation. He walks too many guys, but electric fastball still a few years away. The rest of those guys, I just don't know if that's enough. I mean, Dylan Cease, he's a premium. Look at what Soto got last season.
Stone is a top 50 prospect in on the Major League Baseball pipeline. Sheehan is already right up there. He's a Major League talent today. Michael Bush is a Major League talent today, and another guy in the top 35 or whatever it is. Ronan Kopp is an interesting guy who maybe could be a kind of wild, but a closer type in his future.
I think if you work in a Josue DePaula, who the rankings don't fit with how scouts truly view him around the league as far as his value. By the way, he's Stephon Marbury's nephew, but they don't view him as higher value than he's actually ranked. So I think they definitely have the prospects. There's no doubt about that. It's just how aggressive.
Is that move too much?
I think.
Look, what's the point of holding on to him? But you got to flip the other side too. What's the point of the White Sox holding on to Dylan Cease? They're not going to be good in 2025. They're not going to work out that extension. It's not a good team anywhere.
Why are the Cardinals hanging on to Jack Flaherty at this point?
Why are the Cardinals hanging on to Nolan Arenado? At some point, you need to build up that farm system, build that young, controllable talent. The cheaper talent that you're able to build off of, ride for a little bit, where you don't need to have a team like the Mets, where it's $350 million payroll. I think just to be compete and try to get up to anywhere.
I think sadly, I think that the White Sox think delusionally that they can contend in 2024 and beyond. They think that maybe Cease can be that guy because we know Jerry Reinsdorf is absolutely delusional. We know that he wants to win another World Series. You know what White Sox fans call it? They call it White Sox hell. That's actually a phrase in White Sox fandom. There's really nothing to do around that stadium. The White Sox actually built a bar there. The team built a bar to try to get people to go to the games. That's how bad it is in Chicago. So you probably say to yourself, how the hell do you sell tickets if you part ways with Dylan Cease?
One of the I forgot what I was to say. It was a funny one, but it's now gone to the ethos.
That'll be bad.
Really quickly, Joel Sherman, New York Post says expectation is the Cardinals will still trade Jack Flaherty, perhaps in conjunction with someone like Dylan Carlson or Tyler O'Neill. Dodgers still want to add a starting pitcher. So in 20 minutes, the expectations that Flaherty gets traded. If you're a follower of DodgersNation.com, you saw that Flaherty O'Neill package out there a couple weeks ago.
This guy was on it first.
What can you do? But so 20 minutes, and it seems like Flaherty might get traded still. So he might end up being the guy.
I feel like Flaherty probably is the guy because they had the package for Rodríguez for a guy that was basically being traded as an expiring contract type of guy. They're probably taking that same package, offering it to the Cardinals and saying, okay, Jack Flaherty as a backup plan. Maybe that's probably what they do. And also, let's not forget, they still need another bullpen piece. I think you go and get a Middleton from the White Sox would be good too. But O'Neill is someone who's had pop defensively. He's been good. You just kind of have to restore him to where he was. He can squat like 1,000,000 pounds, right? He's super jacked.
Yeah, he's got a big old dumper.
I
want him.
I definitely think also too, if you're that's one guy I think if you're the organization, you kind of want to do right by one of your players. Jack Flaherty has made it no secret. He grew up a Dodgers fan. This guy is, he said in the past, what's his favorite stadium to pitch at? Dodger Stadium without hesitation. He wants to be a Dodger as bad as Giolito did, and he's now with the Angels. So that wouldn't shock me. It does feel like that could be the like I said, the makeup move for the Dodgers, a little consolation prize, and then it's more of a depth situation, and then you hope that your true frontline guys are a healthy Kershaw, a Julio Urias that's pitching more like we've seen, and then Lance Lynn turns it on, and then Walker Buehler returns, and then you got some depth, you kind of push some guys back. So it's not the worst case scenario. If I had to take Jack Flaherty, it was everything I had right now versus no one, give me Jack Flaherty. There's no question about that. Is he the ceiling raiser? I would say no. But I do think he can be, at the very least, serviceable for this team. And then, like I said, if you put on that Dodger uniform, if your name is not Noah Syndergaard, you're probably going to pitch better with this organization.
He's an upgrade over Michael Grove right now. I mean, the Dodgers can't keep trusting Michael Grove out there. Obviously,
they can't trust Tony Gonsolin.
Yeah, I mean, they can't either. And obviously, Clayton Kershaw's coming back. But, I mean, you don't know how he's going to be. I mean, he was a Cy Young candidate pre-injury. You don't know how he's going to be post-injury. So I think they need to make another move. And, I mean, I've been saying Jack Flaherty all along. I felt like he was going to be the move. So
thank you, voice of Ghost Noah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at Twitter, tweet to X, waiting
He's
for
a Harvard Wesleyan Wolverine.
Yeah, he played at Encino Little League.
Encino Little League. There you go.
It's in the valley.
The Great 1-8.
Again, we've talked about it again already. I'm in. I'm very high on the idea of Flaherty. For me, it's Cease, Flaherty, then the field, and
I mean, Cease is what? Quickly, super
Keller
chat
doesn't seem like he's going anywhere.
from John Bleed and Blue, $5 again, and you know what?
Nobody's dancing anymore. You guys getting tired? It's only an hour and a half. God.
Thank you, John Bleed and Blue. That's your fourth or fifth of the day. $5.
Nuts.
You said thank you, Dodgers Nation. We thank
We're here for you guys. We're here for you guys.
We thank you for all of you guys being. We got 2,000 people in the stream. We got over 600 likes.
Trade is happening.
Which means that Dodgers are about to make a trade, because that's what Andrew Friedman told me. Wait a minute. He said six. No, it's coming, guys. It's coming. 17 minutes. Maybe we'll get to 700 just for the Dylan Cease part of the trade. But no, really
1,000 for Cease. I'm telling you, that's the magic number.
I mean, he said 1,000, then he'll do a shoey. He said
like
Doug McKain will do a shoey.
I'll do a
if we
shoey
get
for
1,000 likes.
I'll do a shoey for 900 at this point.
Nah, I'll do 1,000
and $2.
I'll give you
and
$2.
Mets active in trade
Price of shoes went up.
negotiations with Tommy Pham, Adam Ottavino, and Brooks Raley. So 20 minutes, and the Mets are looking to sell 3 pieces. Brooks Raley could be an interesting lefty for the Dodgers bullpen. And then obviously Tommy Pham, you've talked about him enough.
Still need bullpen help for sure.
Still need bullpen help, but really need another starting pitcher.
Miguel Galvin says, is Twitter not working today, or is nothing going on? There's kind of nothing going on.
Hit the snooze
But
button,
again,
man.
The quieter it is with the Dodgers at this time of year, the better I feel.
3:01 p.m., we're getting that bomb.
That passing bomb.
Care to expand?
I thought someone was going to say something after.
No, I agree, though.
Yeah, his name's Dylan.
Remember, you're new here.
For me, it feels like
we don't know. We don't know.
Hosting it. I mean,
it's best in final time. It really is. With this organization, they're out there. They're communicating with these teams. I think, like you said, Clint, you said it best, that when there is radio silence, that's when you know things are really cooking. We're about to hear an announcement about something one way or the other, because that's going to be the beauty of this. We're going to hear about if the Dodgers were in on Flaherty and didn't get him, or they did get Flaherty. They were in on Cease, but the White Sox weren't blown away, and they didn't get Cease. So we're going to find out one way or the other. It's judgment day right now, and we're going to see in very short order here if the Dodgers did make a big move.
15 minutes, really quickly. Alex Martinez, 199, says Dodgers are trying to pry Arenado from the Cards. I mean, it sounds like that ship has sailed, but hey, maybe they're making a last-second push.
Anything can happen. I mean, after what we saw in 2021, like I said last night, no one on this planet knew that Trey Turner was going to be a Dodger, right? Came out of nowhere. Rosenthal already reported. I was actually already doing a video on Scherzer going to the Padres, and I was like mid-tier, and like then all of a sudden shocks the world. So you just never know. And I think at this point, the Dodgers, they know the power they have. They know the prospects they have. They know they're going to have to overpay to an extent, to a degree. It's just they want to keep as many of these prospects as they can. So you either trade them in the offseason, some of these guys you believe in. It's almost like you're negotiating for a car. You got to always walk away. They're in the parking lot right now, and the teams are chasing them down, and then they're really negotiating and getting that deal together. So I would not be surprised. I mean, I'd be shocked at this point if they didn't make a move. I really would. I'd be absolutely shocked. You don't put in this much work. I mean, after Gavin Lux went down, back at Friedman said, we're exploring how to make this team better. This is not something that they started like a week ago, right? They've been exploring and scouting and looking at the players that they want for months now. It's just about execution at this point. And the good thing is the Dodgers, they're going into these trades with different ways they can help. I mean, different ways they can get deals done. So I definitely think there absolutely has to be something on the table. If not, it'd be a catastrophic disaster.
I mean, you've been saying it for, I think, months now that this team is too good to not go all in. I mean, Mookie and Freddie in their prime. This offense is historically good right now. You have all these good veterans. I mean, David Peralta's playing out of his mind. Jason Hayward's playing out of his mind. JD Martinez is playing out of his mind. I mean, this is the time to go all in. Quick super chat, David Catalano, $2. Bring Michael Busch up playing with third Muncie DH. I mean, yeah, if JD Martinez goes on the IL, maybe Muncie will move to DH and Michael Busch. I mean, Michael Busch's not a good defender either.
If you don't see Michael Busch's name, and you're going to see his name in any way within now to the next 2-3 hours, because it's going to be him, the big leagues, and JD Martinez of the IL, or him going to
move to the Chicago White Sox.
Cardinals. Like we said, he sounds like we said on the Arenado show. He sounds like a Cardinal. Michael Busch.
Michael Busch. It would be very weird if he doesn't get traded, but also maybe they just want to call him up right now. We got 13 minutes, people.
So
over 2,000 people in the live stream.
2K in the live stream. If you're new to the channel, by the way, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bells. The #1 Dodgers YouTube channel post game show. We do it all for you guys. It's all about you guys. So definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and give a shout out to Noah.
This guy right here is the #1 Dodgers insider on YouTube. So you need to be watching all his videos and subscribe to this channel.
I mean,
insider, outsider. Hey, look,
I mean, there's no one better on YouTube. There's no
one
better on YouTube.
You know Andrew Friedman. How can you top that?
There are talking about
they can top that, okay?
There are 3 names I guess you could say there are essentially 3 names that are linked to the Dodgers that we've seen over the last 24 to 36 hours. It is Dylan Cease, it is Mitch Keller, it is Jack Flaherty. Of those 3, maybe Flaherty has been less linked of late, and to me that kind of helps.
Now to Joel Sherman, really.
That kind of helps that it's been less. It's been more quiet about him.
Diamondbacks get Tommy Pham.
Diamondbacks, Tommy Pham, come on down.
In the NL West, Jock Peterson's going to be a little afraid of that. But,
shout
out to Diamondbacks being aggressive.
That trade slaps.
There it is. There it is.
Yes,
there it
let's
is.
go. I do not think Mitch Keller gets moved. I don't see the Pirates being smart enough to add much to the. Even if they get prospects, they don't know what to do with them.
It just doesn't feel like a Dodgers move. I mean, if they're going to part ways with prospects, they want a name, they want a brand name, they want a name that fans are going
to. Ken Rosenthal said Dodgers talking to Red Sox about James Paxton.
Paxton. So
he also said still an outside chance for Erod, who would need to reverse decision on no trade. But he said there's still an outside. He said both considered long shots. So both James Paxton and Erod considered long shots.
James Paxton, you got Big Maple. He's a big-time left-handed starting pitcher. He's been very good in the past. He's also been a lot of injured over the last couple of years, spending time with New York. Spent a lot of time in the IL. I think he had a shoulder injury. If it wasn't Tommy John, I don't remember. But Paxton, new to the mix here. What are your thoughts on that, D-Mac?
Yeah, I think James Paxton is an interesting name because, one, like you said, he's a veteran. He's been in the league for quite some time. Also, two, if you look at he's exercised that player option, so he's going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2024. So, yeah, if you look at what he can do as a player, there's a lot of things to like. I mean, strikeout rate, well above average. Expected the stats are really solid. I think for him, you can also use him as a swing guy too. He can give you innings out of the bullpen. He's experienced doing that. So that to me, I've been surprised that he hasn't been moved already today. So that's someone could absolutely help this team. I think
Orioles close to acquiring Jack Flaherty.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
From the Redbirds.
Oh my goodness!
He likes birds, huh?
He likes birds.
That's tough. That's a tough one right there. It always felt like in our heart of hearts, Flaherty was going to be a Dodger.
Flaherty, Giolito.
Maybe that's going to happen in the offseason. 2 of those guys are both going to be free agents. But that's crazy. That's a game changer right there. The Orioles.
This is terrifying.
These aren't your 2018 Orioles anymore. This is a really good ball club. They're right there at the top of the division. Are they leading the AL East right now?
They have to be.
The Rays have been so mid over the last couple of weeks, but.
First place, game and a half ahead of the Rays.
Wow. So the Orioles just got Jack Flaherty. That is pretty crazy.
That's crazy. It's crazy to see the Orioles.
I mean,
I'm happy for the Orioles.
Orioles as buyers in this.
And I'm sure they didn't give up any of their top prospects. They have such a healthy farm system. I think they're the team of the future in the AL East. But now we're looking at who's available. I will say, going back to, I think you said it about Rodriguez, or I think you said about how it's still possible. It's a long shot that he accepts that deal. Max Scherzer
and Paxton are still long
yeah,
shot,
Paxton. I think, well, going back to Rodriguez is Scherzer was the same situation. It felt like he was going to exercise that veto power, and then it's a leverage play to try to negotiate something. The only issue is that if you're Rodriguez, the complicating factor to me is why would you want to exercise the Dodgers accepting that $49 million, right? In a situation, if you wanted that, I could say, okay, for sure. That's a $15 million AAV, right?
Yes,
$77 million. That makes sense,
right?
But you want to hit free agency. You want to do it after you pitch well. I think you brought up the best point. Just kind of have a really nice season. You put yourself on the market without being on the spotlight with the Dodgers. But now it's getting really grim. I mean, now you're looking at, overpaying significantly for Dylan Cease or Paxton.
This was the worry we had over, I'd say, probably less. I think we've talked ourselves more into in the last couple of weeks of doing this show that something was going to happen. It's the Dodgers. Something always happens. They always figure it out. But this is a new era in baseball. There are more teams in on it. You have the Baltimore Orioles buying
There's another team
at the trade deadline. That is nuts. So it's a different era, and the Dodgers don't always get to win anymore. And I'm sure, to the enjoyment of fans all around the league there, but they're still don't count them out. I would not be surprised at all. That'll be I'm gonna throw out my there's 8 minutes until 3:00 bold take. I think Erod happens in the last minute. I really do. I think they find a way to be like, dude, it's
just come.
it's 2 months plus
Mookie
playoffs.
hits him up. JD
What's
hits
the
him
best
up.
time to come? It's 2 months plus playoffs. Then you can go see your family in the offseason, maybe with the World
I
Series
believe he's
ring.
Venezuelan, right? He's Venezuela. But yeah, I think that to me, it
Either way,
feels
it's
like
a long flight.
the one that's most likely at the moment, in the fact that that's even something that's being considered. You would hope they could sell him on the fact that, yeah, you could go there, have a really solid finish to your season, have some postseason starts, have a role for this team, hopefully peak at the right time, and send yourself into the offseason to sign a nice bag. But yeah, it doesn't feel like Cease in the 11th hour is something at the buzzer that's realistic. I hope I'm wrong,
Hopefully.
but now it's also, too, there's like no leverage. You had the musical chairs. There was like 3 pitchers and all the teams circling it. Now you got basically one musical chair with like 3 teams still looking for pitching. We know pitching is a premium. There's a lot of teams that need to bolster their rotation, with the Dodgers being one of them. But yeah, I think you brought up a great point. Is the Orioles are buyers. The Diamondbacks are buyers.
Diamondbacks are buyers.
The Angels are buyers. This is Major League Baseball today. I've seen people out there that say they can't stand the expanded postseason, and this is a reason why. You're going to have more parity in this league. You're going to have teams having really good years for 3 or 4 years, but I don't think you're going to have this sustainable winning like we've seen from the Dodgers and the Braves and the Yankees and the Rays and even the Astros, who now have the worst farm system in the sport. We got an update.
Mark Feinstein said growing buzz at the White Sox may trade Dylan Cease in the next 10 minutes. And he said Dodgers and Orioles seen as favorites. That was before the Orioles got Flaherty. So it sounds like it's going to be Dylan Cease or nothing in the next 10 minutes.
It's going to be Dylan Cease. We're getting Dylan Cease.
Hey, there's a reason.
I'm getting the Chewy ready.
I'm not. There's a reason I'm not sleeping right now, because I never sleep on Andrew Friedman.
He knows this team.
Line.
It's a great line. He knows he has to win this deadline. He knows it. He knows there's no guarantee that Shohei Ohtani is going to be a Dodger. He knows there's not a long list of free agents that make sense after this year. He knows that winning with this core, like I said, it's prom senior year. You're not going to get a lot of cracks with this group. And also, too, he has the prospects. Cash in on these guys. They are rotting. Free them. Guess what? Most of these guys are not going to be stars. Most of them are not even going to be everyday big leaguers. Prospects are prospects for a reason. 50% of first and second round picks make the big leagues. That's how low it is. It's such a low chance. So might as well cash in. You develop these prospects as trade chips, so I hope they get Dylan Cease. You guys know I've been talking about Dylan Cease for the show for months now. This is the guy that we've been wanting on this show. This is something that helps this team this year and beyond. And hey, this is a team that has the prospect capital to get it done. You have to be aggressive, Andrew Friedman. Don't let these other teams around Major League Baseball make moves when you have all the pieces. Look, they're not trying to catch a big fish on a dinghy with a cane pole, right? I mean, they're on a 360 outrage, twin Mercury 600 horsepower V12 Legend X Series fishing boat. Okay, they have everything they need.
Looked into this
to get. Well, a lot of fishermen in my family, but
fishermen in the McKain family,
big fishing family. But I mean, they have everything they need to get this deal done. The White Sox, they're going to come to their senses and realize that, hey, I mean, what I say on the show yesterday, I said I'd give up Bobby Miller for Dylan Cease. I wouldn't think twice about it. Yes, he's our future. Yes, but guess what? 2 years plus the end of this season with Cease, he's the ace you need. I think they have to get this done.
Really quickly, want to get some super chats. Kurt Cammett, $5. It's cease or desist for the Dodgers. Another one, we got I am Big Goose. Unfortunately, don't think we're doing anything. Still, let's see if the young guys can handle the postseason lights. I'm hopeful. Go Dodgers.
4 minutes.
Now the world 138, 199. Flaherty's going to Baltimore per pass in. Yep. Da Chamorro. Money from the future. Watching this deadline from Guam. Where it's Wednesday morning. Tired of these teams charging a Dodger tax with their prospects. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Cardinals probably did not want to trade Flaherty to the Dodgers. They're probably happy to get something. 499. Frankie SRT. Shui from DMAC if we get Cease. Yep. We'll see if that happens. And then one more quick one. $5 from John Bleeding
body
Blue.
shot off of
Yankees acquiring Kenyon Middleton from the Chicago White Sox. So not Cease, hopefully, but John Bleeding Blue, $5. Andrew Freeman loves the Hollywood Dramatics, going to be a three-pointer at the last second. So Kenyon Middleton, the White Sox make another move.
Yep.
They trade Kenyon Middleton. So their only really last big piece they have is Dylan Cease.
I mean, and Tim Anderson. But
that's not a big piece. I mean, maybe Eloy Jimenez, but nobody.
It's been better of late for sure.
I think wasn't Eloy the only guy they're not trading, or
no,
that was
Luis Robert.
Whatever.
You're getting your outfilders mixed up.
Listen, man, it's the White Sox. They're barely in the league.
Bartolo Colon said, read online that Erod's wife is a Padres fan. 199 super chat. Hey, maybe, you never know. Thank you for the super chat. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes. Again, that doesn't mean the deadline's over, but 2 minutes until the stuff starts trickling in.
It smells right to me.
It smells like Dylan Cease.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that article ready.
Make it happen.
I'm feeling Dylan Cease.
What's the Doug the hot dog meter at right now?
Man,
on Cease.
Michelada half full on Dylan Cease.
I give that one 4 Dodger dogs. It feels imminent.
Because it's quiet.
Because
That's
quiet.
why. Because it is so quiet. You only have what? Feinstam is a guy who's kind of
talking about. Because they know they need a starter.
I mean, it's either going to be Cease or it's going to be Erod. That's kind of where my head is at right there. Mark Feinstam a minute ago said 5 minutes from the deadline. Eduardo Rodriguez still in the Tigers. If he isn't moving outside of his contract, Detroit can make him a qualifying offer. So I don't think Detroit wants a qualifying offer. They're clearly not that great at finding and developing talent, or else they would be a better ball club. The Dodgers, they can just get some guys that can pretty close to plug and play. But I mean, if in 10 minutes Michael Busch is still a Dodger, I would be shocked. I would be so damn shocked.
His bags are packed.
They keep hanging on to this guy. He's 25 years old.
Never use him.
He's the Crash Davis, man.
Major league ready. At some point, you got to trade him. Also, I just heard if this gets to 1,000 likes, Dylan Cease is a Dodger.
That is confirmed.
Doug's been confirming that the whole time.
They're waiting to see that go to 1,000. Then they'll greenlight the deal.
1 minute to get to 1,000 likes in the chat.
Dylan Cease.
Dylan Cease is a Dodger, guys. 1,000 likes. We are so close to get Dylan Cease on the Dodgers. We have a minute left in the trade.
Phillies.
Give me a hashtag Cease to LA down in the comment section. We have to manifest this. It has to happen. I will levitate into blue heaven if this happens.
Phillies swinging another deal with Pittsburgh. Apparently, they are just swapping some rando. Bailey Falter, I don't know what that name is, but I don't care about him. It's not Dylan Cease. It's not anybody you care about. Going to
it's not Dylan
Philly.
Cease to LA yet. So
Dylan
Cease is staying in Chicago. Says Bob Nightingale.
Hey! It's Bob we're talking about here.
It's Bob. There's always a chance.
This is Bob. That 100%.
That means he's a Dodger.
That means it's 100%. That's someone called Bob right now. Be like, hey Bob, why are you lying?
Bob Nightingale says Dylan Cease will not be traded. Now let's wait for someone else to say
what is that? What is that? Like Bob,
just
come on.
Make sure you don't like or retweet that Bob Nightingale tweet. Do not give it life.
If anything, unlike it. Also, Jose Alvarez, $9.99. Fellas, just called Andrew. We are good. Deep dish Dillian inbound, and then we got another.
I never wanted Dylan
super
Cease.
Chat. A lot of honestly, I don't even want him. I think I got all the super chats up to date. Trade deadline is technically here. Now we just sit by our phone.
Hey, let's sit and hold hands.
Really quickly.
Wow, that's bold for this guy.
We don't have the Jack Flaherty, which is confirmed, but we don't have the return yet.
Morosi,
so very
interested.
interested.
It's finalized. Sources confirmed.
Yeah, I want to see that return because I want to see what the Dodgers, we're competing with. My guess is the Dodgers would have had to give up more because the Cardinals didn't want to trade him there. But technically, the trade deadline's over. We're only at 800 likes, so that's why Dylan Cease is in here. Is all I'm saying.
2 more to go.
Okay, the Cardinals are receiving Cesar Prieto and Drew Rom from the Orioles. I honestly don't know who those guys are, but that's
tough. That's tough to see Cease not traded.
Thank you, fans.
Allegedly.
I mean, thank you, fans.
Thank you,
If
fans.
the Dodgers did not add to this rotation and they're just going Lance Lynn,
that's
going to be problematic.
That's where they lean in on the fact that Walker Buehler. By the way, we didn't mention it.
John
Walker.
Morosi said Dylan. Oh, Jeff Passan says Dylan Cease was not traded.
Oh, Passan,
no.
Jeffrey, what do you?
If it doesn't come from
What do
Woj,
you
I don't
do?
believe it. If it's not Woj,
Wrong. That he is the Woj of this sport.
all right.
I guess if we're going to look at this silver lining, Michelada half full. Walker Buehler says he's throwing to hitters on August 8th. That's the plan thus far. You're really putting a lot of hope and faith in Walker Buehler being able to build up to a starter's workload, 4 and 75, whatever the hell it is, by September, the first week of September. And a lot of pieces falling well. Clayton Kershaw staying healthy, continuing to pitch as well as he has. Doug, you looked sad and dejected.
That hurts.
Is it obvious?
It's so
That-
you can
obvious.
see my soul leaving my body.
You do not
Like I
hide
seen
your
a ghost.
emotions well.
I know. I'm really bad at that. I'm a
Yeah,
bad blusher
man.
too. If you embarrass me, I turn like a tomato very quickly.
We've seen that a lot over the
bad
last few
blusher.
days in here.
Look,
yeah.
I mean, like you said, that's the first thing. That's the number
No
one
shoeys for Doug,
number one
huh?
topic. I mean, at least my Jackie Robinson dunks won't get a shoey done in them.
Yeah, boy.
But
I wish they did though.
I kind of man. I don't even know what I was gonna do if we got Cease. I would tell you I would have levitated into blue heaven,
Probably
but
would've-
would have ascended.
would've-
But I will say, look, at this point, you just have to ride with this team that they have. Is it disappointing? Absolutely. Is it underwhelming? Absolutely.
Is it done? Not quite.
Exactly.
Bob
Let's-
Nightingale said 6 p.m. Eastern. The trade deadline is over, but plenty of trades will start to trickle in over the next 30 to 40 minutes. That's why the show is always planned for at least 30 minutes beyond the trade deadline. Things can happen. Are the Dodgers involved? We don't know. We will find out. It seems like it's not Cease. So who's left? There's really nobody. Flaherty's off the table. The only thing is, if
Eduardo
they already had
Rodriguez.
Erod, if they had an
Yeah.
Erod thing there, at that point, it's just talking to
Yeah.
him, talking to his
Exactly.
talking-
They're probably out of the Rodriguez
is that-
bobblehead ready. They're trying to give away.
They're gonna
night.
retire his
Yeah,
jersey this
exactly.
year.
Retire
if he
his
comes.
jersey
They're
number.
gonna give him. They're
Yeah.
gonna give him like a statue at Dodger Stadium. Just
Right next to
please-
Jackie and
yeah,
Sandy.
Just please come join us for this stretch run.
Fabian Ardaya, the Athletic, just reconfirmed source that Eduardo Rodriguez invoked his no trade clause with the Dodgers, citing a desire to remain closer to family on the East Coast. So what do you do? What do you throw in a private jet or
Yeah, I
something
mean, either
like
way,
that?
you're taking a plane. you know?
Teleportation.
Yeah,
Doesn't
looking
matter
for
if
sign.
taking a
2
plane from
hours?
Detroit or
Bro,
LA.
2 hours to suffer in Detroit for the rest of the year, or come on.
All right, in the comments, let's get just reactions.
Hey, by the
if
way,
the Dodgers did
I
nothing,
want to say
what do you guys
it's
feeling?
time to retire. If they did nothing, then we're retiring the phrase "in freedom
Mets
we
have
trust."
traded
Oh,
reliever
that's huge.
Dominique Leon to the Angels. The Angels continue to make moves.
Who said that?
Will Salmon.
Oh,
Mets
there it is.
beat
Jeez, are the
writer.
Dodgers going to trade Mookie to the Angels? I mean,
The Angels.
what even is happening
Angels
at
continue
this deadline?
to make moves.
I got it.
Dodgers,
I'm
not thank you.
distraught.
Dodgers, not so much.
Dodgers crapped out, man. I mean, I
mean-
think
I
it's
mean-
tough because they did make the move for Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's
and
the
that's
thing.
the move we talked about
Yeah,
all
that
morning
was
on
it.
this show. And I said it earlier. I said, if there's going to be a move they're going to make, it's going to be Erod. That's what we talked about in the early show. That's the move that materialized. It came to fruition. Only thing is, he had 10 teams. Why? What is he against LA? Were they all West Coast teams? Was it all 10 West Coast teams? I'm wondering at this point. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think if you're the Dodgers, you would hope that you would have some intel going into that deal before you get that deal done. Or do you hope that the deal materializes and you can convince him after the fact?
Well, I'm sure they had an idea that it was a potential to not happen, but it's still they make their trade and then like, all right, we're gonna take this to Erod and see what he has to say about it.
Yeah, this is.
I think the White Sox made a big mistake not taking a haul
Massive
from the
mistake.
Dodgers. I mean,
Then
think
again,
about
they
what they
traded
But we
away-
don't know what the
they
Dodgers are
traded
willing.
away.
I think the
That's true.
Dodgers probably got
Think of
scared.
how much they
True.
traded though. Like the White Sox traded
6 pitchers.
six players from their
pitchers.
from their roster,
And
6
they
pitchers.
But there were two
Dylan
guys that they would
Cease.
keep to try to fast track.
Yeah, Robert and Cease.
Is Robert and Cease. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, who knows what they wanted? They probably wanted every single thing possible from this team, and maybe it was just too high. The asking price was too high, but still, if they were anywhere close and the Dodgers just couldn't get past the goal line, and you're feeling,
Tigers did not trade Eduardo Rodriguez. Ken Rosenthal says.
Confirmed.
So
No,
he's not coming to
Erod
the
coming to
Dodgers.
Let's get into some
Dylan
of the,
Cease is
like,
not coming to the Dodgers.
Like Doug already said, drop your guys' reactions in there.
Down
You guys
below.
load up some reactions. No, I want to hear from you in a second.
Yeah.
But Anthony Navarro says, thank God we didn't give up prospects for a ring. Prospects make the world go round. That's for sure. Ethan, I don't even know how to say that last name. I apologize. But it says a second year in a row we wasted the trade deadline day for nothing. Hey, last year they got Joey Gallo. Like,
Yeah. Hey,
Joey,
Chris Martin.
Joey,
and
yeah,
Chris-
papa,
eating sugar, no papa. Telling
there.
lies, At least we had that.
Yeah, we
guys.
had that.
We did
This
have
really
that.
sucks from James Oos. Dodgers trash from White Neck. Otani to Dodgers 2024. They better.
Like Dylan saying,
Nando.
womp, womp.
Womp,
Nando.
womp,
Wait,
womp.
why did the
Hamilton's in the stream, says we made enough moves for a second round exit, improvements from last year. That's I mean, they are going to get to the postseason. That's an important
I hope so.
piece.
I mean, the
No,
Giants
they're going
and
to get in the
Diamondbacks
postseason.
are,
They just don't have enough, I feel, to get to the World Series. But you know what? Crazy things happen. Maybe Sheehan does go on a run. They have
At the
him
end of the day,
throw like
yeah.
1,000
I
innings
hope
this
so.
year. Maybe Bobby Miller figures out how to consistently pitch to hitters while he's out of the stretch. Or maybe they move one of them to the bullpen and they do something magical out of the bullpen where we're not relying on, hey, how did they get beat last year? Well, one, Clayton Kershaw didn't have a great start in the postseason. Julio Urias didn't have a great start in the postseason. But who were the guys that really let him down? It was Yency. It was Vesia in that final game. They had a lead, and then the carpet was violently pulled out from under them late in that NLDS Game 5 against the Padres.
I agree, but guess what? You don't have Tyler Anderson, right? I mean, you don't have a pitcher that's performing like Tyler Anderson. You don't have.
They barely had
you don't
him
have a
then
Chris
because
Martin.
Dave yanked
You
him.
don't have a Chris Martin. You don't have like some of these top
You got
guys
Joe
that were
Kelly now.
performing.
You're good. They didn't have
Joe
Joe
Kelly.
Kelly
Look,
last
you guys
year.
know how I am on Joe Kelly. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be explosive. I think he's nasty as he's been in years. So I'm all for Joe Kelly, but this was not it. This was a. You definitely
rough.
helped. You improved on the margins. It's not like you just sat on your hands and did nothing. They did something, but they did not do enough, especially when you look at the competition, especially when you look at the gap between this team and the Atlanta Braves and some of these other teams out there. This team does not have the pitching they need to go into the postseason and expect to win the World Series. You just can't bank on the guys they have. They knew for months.
Just too many.
They knew for months
Yes.
how many holes they had, and they still, you bring in a Lance Lynn, hopefully he works out, but he's not the needle mover that this team needed. Like I said, you are about to punch in the end zone. You're Russell Wilson throwing the pick to Malcolm Butler, right? You are absolutely fumbling right there at the goal line
still
before
feel
you
that
can
one.
punch it in. So I'm very disappointed in Andrew Freeman, this organization. And yes, you got these prospects. We know it. I'm so tired of hearing about these prospects. I mean, which of these prospects have turned out to be stars? Which ones? Which one? Am I waiting? Which ones? Did Gavin Lux try to be a star? Did Gavin Stone try to be a star? Did
They
Bobby?
haven't had a star since Walker Buehler.
Exactly.
They haven't had like a legitimate star.
2018.
since Buehler.
Made his debut
Yeah.
in 2017.
It's been
Where are
a
the
minute.
stars? 5 years in. Where are the stars?
Yeah.
Really quickly, J-Dog 199. Angels beat the Dodgers this deadline. Sad
Damn.
day.
They did.
Yes,
They did.
they did. They
Ooh.
poached Lucas
No, they got
Pinolito.
PK back. He dances.
Also, J-Dog
on,
199.
we're
Right when you just said prospect are suspects till proven otherwise. So yeah,
Yes,
Dodgers
sir.
are hoping for the
Parades
best.
over prospects. Look what the Rams did. Look what
Man.
the Lakers did.
Yeah, this is
you
painful.
gotta win.
I just closed my my Eduardo Rodriguez baseball reference tab. I just closed my Jack Flaherty baseball reference tab, and now I'm about to close James Paxton.
Really quick, really
Nothing.
Leave that open. You said 30 minutes.
Leave
You
James
said we
Paxton.
had-
James Paxton is going to
All right.
save the
Control
Dodgers
Shift G.
season.
Or T, let's go.
Lord Vader 199. Erod just screwed the Dodgers whole season. Yeah, that's a bummer that didn't come through. Got another.
Can we
one.
move LA back to Brooklyn so then Erod will approve of the deal?
No, who are you going to do that for?
Shohei.
That was
Bednar
Shohei.
and
But I'll do
Keller
it for Erod,
remain
too.
with the Pirates. David Bednar and Mitch Keller
He's
were not
pre-arbitration, man.
Yeah.
That was
he was
insane.
going
Francisco
anywhere.
Avila 999. Why is everyone panicking? Dodgers still got players to win the whole thing. Still got a chance this year and next few years. Friedman is smart. Don't underestimate him and this group.
Because panic is more fun for everybody on these streams. Thank you. He gets it.
They have one World Series despite having all the resources. I mean, this team definitely.
Yeah.
For me, it's the new age of baseball. They haven't been as aggressive
the
as
Mets
they
are
need to.
acquiring Phil Bickford and Adam Kolarek. The Dodgers have made a move. They saved the season.
Why are they getting...
The Dodgers saved the season.
How did they throw in
Phil
Kolarek?
Bickford and Adam Kolarek.
And
Wow.
That's from Robert Murray, fan-sided. Okay, what are the Mets sending back? What's going on there?
Cash?
So maybe it's a Brooks Raley thing. Maybe I
Brooks
doubt
Raley.
it.
That's
I
a
doubt
weird
it
trade.
because Bickford was a DFA.
Yeah,
and
and Kolarek
Kolarek. I don't
sucks.
know where Kolarek came from in that. Like that's just throwing it in for the hell of it. But the fact that there's two players going in, that's interesting. But we'll keep an eye
Yeah,
on
we'll
that.
see what they got.
Of course, retweeted by John Heyman. He's in cahoots with Robert Murray. Seen that in action. Both Doug and I saw that in action at the winter meetings last year. So that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe there is something happening. Maybe it is a bullpen addition.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll see what that
again,
means. Oh, the Marlins just acquired Josh Bell.
Oh,
so the Marlins really went for it for Gene Segura and Khalil Watson. So
Marlins,
the Marlins,
Angels, D-backs.
Marlins got
Orioles.
Jake Berger and Josh Bell, while the Dodgers
and David Robertson
and David Robertson, while the Dodgers got Lance Lynn and Kike Hernandez and Ahmed
dances.
Rosario.
Completely
Kike
subwoofers.
Hernandez dances and
Kelly.
Joe Kelly buys people cheeseburgers.
And he yells at Carlos Correa. So
this is fair.
He's
this
him.
Is fair. No, he makes funny faces at him. We want more of these funny face dudes. All right, let's do our best to look at this Michelada half full. I see Doug getting angry. He gets real violent when he starts drinking.
I'm a happy drunk.
There are bodies coming back for sure. We already talked a good amount about Kershaw. We've talked about the potential for Walker Buehler, but maybe somewhere down the line there are some other guys, relievers on the 40 or on the 60-day IL right now. Maybe there is a world where Daniel Hudson comes back from that knee thing. Maybe there's a world where Blake Trinan somehow is pitching again in September. I don't believe that, but maybe JP Fireeisen is somebody that makes his way back. So there's some opportunities there. If you can't get a really good starting rotation, and I do think at some point, calendar is now in August. I think people like Julio Urias have got to be really pissed at how poorly he pitched in the month of July and coming back from that hamstring injury. Give him that opportunity to kind of let him cook and let him get back on track. But you let Tony, the month starts getting a little bit cooler. That split finger starts playing a little bit better again because his hands aren't all sweaty and moist, and he's able to throw the splitter again. So there are some really good pieces there in place, but that's not exciting to a fan base. You want to feel like you won, and now this is 2 player acquisition periods in a row where the team hasn't been exciting. You have the offseason where they let big names walk and brought in reclamation projects and Jay Hay and Noah Syndergaard and David Peralta. The batting average is okay. It's okay right there. You're batting over 500 with some of the moves that they did make, but it's not as exciting.
Exactly. And you bring up so many good points that, this team isn't bereft of talent. They have tons of talent. They have 2 legitimate bona fide MVP candidates in Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. You have an emerging Will Smith who continues to prove that he's one of the best hitters in the game. JD Martinez has worked on a 1-year deal. He's been banged up of late. Max Muncy, he's on pace to hit close to 40 home runs. He's turned it around this season, even though he's gone through his ups and downs. But there's a lot of rookies. There's a lot of guys at the bottom of this lineup that you have to bank on. Is James Outman going to continue to hold it down in center field? Is Kike Hernandez and Rosario going to have more success with this team? They're 2 negative WAR players. They have their flaws, right? One's a terrible defensive player with a -16 defensive run saved. I mean, I think with Rosario, you have him in as a guy that starts you off offensively, maybe do a late game substitution. You kind of mix things up from that standpoint. Will Peralta continue to have success? Will Hayward continue to have success? So, if and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be good, right? But lots of ifs and buts for this Dodgers team, and we've seen this before. Last year was the same story. Will Blake Trinan come back? Will Tony Gonsolin? Will Dustin May come back? It's always, are these guys going to come back?
And then they didn't come back.
And you tweet that out, right? I mean, something great. Follow him on Twitter, Noah Camras.
Yeah. I mean, all I said was
the Dodgers.
The
I know a guy.
Dodgers were expecting. I mean, maybe they weren't expecting, but we were expecting Walker Buehler to come back, Dustin May to come back. Buehler instead gets Tommy John 2 weeks later. Dustin May obviously just does not get back. Tony Gonsolin gets hurt and then is not fully healthy for the postseason. Ends up being more of a detriment than a positive, and then the Dodgers lose to the Padres. Not entirely. I mean, they didn't hit with runners in scoring position, but also that pitching. I mean, if they have better starts all 4 games, we're looking at a different story. So starting pitching to me was the biggest concern last year. It was the biggest concern this year, and now it's going to be Kershaw, Urias. I guess Bobby Miller is going to get a start in the postseason maybe, and then Lance Lynn or Tony Gonsolin.
Yeah.
That's concerning to me.
And you mentioned that 1988 team, one of the big surprise World Series champions, them and the Mets, the Miracle Mets. That Oral Hershiser was something that this team doesn't have. He had an ERA of 1, okay? He was the MVP. What we got?
The Marlins acquired Ryan Weathers from the Padres for Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I mean, I'm
That's
so
a
jealous.
shocker.
I feel like I'm Squidward. I feel like I'm Squidward, and I'm looking through the blinds, and I'm seeing all these other teams out there making the deals, and you're just feeling kind of depressed about it. But look, I mean, the reality is there's teams that are
Marlins are
aggressive.
going all
Some
in.
teams
They're
just
going all in.
absolutely. I think this is also
Shout
an
out Kim
indication.
Ng.
Yeah, exactly. Doing work down there, and maybe I think really.
They just had to give it to
Erod
Derek
through an
Jeter.
entire
Yeah,
exactly.
it really
I
did.
think he's
That-
good on TV though. I like DJ on TV, Derek Jeter. But anyway,
I
that's
mean, it's
I
the greatest
digress.
player of all time.
Top two,
Shout out Eric
not
Mueller.
two. But yeah, no. So really, the kind of if you want to kind of spin this as a positive, yeah. Hopefully this works out, and hopefully that guys stay healthy. Lance Lynn, he has positive regression to the mean, which I think he is. I think Joe Kelly is going to contribute. I think Kike and Rosario are going to contribute. But you just worry about a five. I mean, imagine the Braves offense versus this pitching that has been the worst pitching.
Yeah.
This has been the worst pitching that this franchise has ever had since they moved to Los Angeles. That's not a take. That's a fact. Okay? The Dodgers have the lowest team ERA since 1958 in all of Major League Baseball. Okay? That's the foundation. That's the backbone. They have the weight-bearing walls of the Hershiser's, the Drysdales, the Koufaxes.
I mean, Buster Olney, when you talked to him a few months ago, that was his whole thing. Like, the fact that they had, and this was 3 months ago, the fact that the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers have this kind of pitching staff, that's not heard of. That's not something that happened. The Dodgers are known for pitching, and yet somehow from that point on, it's gotten worse.
It has. And unfortunately, there's just a lot of question marks. And I think that all the
gotta hope they
positive
all know
momentum, yeah. And I think, too, I mean, just the mood, those guys are all professionals, right? Those guys are ready, pretty much won everything there is to win. Freddie's won a World Series. Mookie's won a World Series. But I do feel like it doesn't feel like the mission has been accomplished. When we talked to Mark Walter on the blue carpet at the Gal last year, we asked him period point blank, are you content with winning a World Series? He said no. He said we want to win multiple World Series. So that is from the top. So the top of the organization has said that they feel like they should have won more World Series, and they're not happy with the results that they've had so far. So, yeah, unfortunately, too, it's some years it doesn't break right, Clint? Some years there's not tons of really good pitchers that are on expiring contracts, right? So you're only able to trade for who's available.
Yeah, the Dodgers did what they said they were going to do. They told us they're only, or I mean, they didn't tell us, but they told people, you know, they put it out there. We're only going to make the moves that fit what we're trying to do. They aren't going to go out to other teams' level. They're not going to stoop to their level or go above what they're willing to trade to bring in a guy. They still have confidence in what they have laying around and what they have.
The Dodgers acquired Ryan Yarbrough from the Royals.
Wow. Well, you got a little
Huge.
pitching help. Wow.
He's,
Mark Feinsand.
Mark Feinsand. So Ryan Yarbrough has been kind of an opener. He's sort of been an everyman for pitching staffs for the Rays for a long time. He's one of those guys. I remember they had that thing with the Rays where it's like all the different arm slots or whatever. He's one of those guys, if I'm not mistaken, is like right over the top. That's not a massive needle mover, but
they need another arm. That's
to me,
for sure.
if they're gonna put him in the rotation, where has he been mostly this season? If they're gonna do that or have him work as an opener, I like him more than Michael Grove. That's I don't know if that's saying something.
I mean,
but
the
that's
worst pitcher in Dodgers history as far as ERA. So
as far as
not
ERA, that's
saying
stats.
too
That's
much,
not him just
but-
being a
And I love
a
Michael Grove.
D-bag.
But
That's
I will say that. I mean, look, Yarbrough is a lefty. He's pretty much the ultimate Walmart version of Eduardo Rodriguez as far as he's someone that limits hard contact, not a big strikeout guy, but doesn't walk anyone. So that's the big thing. He's precise, precision in the zone, great command, but doesn't miss bats. I mean, it's just kind of funny thing that was the big Yarbrough. That's not even grandma's sweater.
This is like
that's Colt in the stocking.
This is like they ordered Eduardo Rodriguez on like Temu, and this is what they were sent. They were sent Ryan Yarbrough right here. So 14 games, 7 starts this year for Ryan Yarbrough. He's 51 innings, but as recently 2021, 155 innings. He did start 21 games. He's a guy who can deliver some innings and can help the staff in a different way. It is absolutely not winning the trade deadline by any stretch of the imagination, but hopefully
Yarbrough.
1 or 2 or 10 more things happen in the next few minutes or whatever.
I feel like we're the Tampa Bay Dodgers right now. I mean,
I know, for real. Hey, Spencer, can I hit that super chat button? Because we got a
Shooting
number
for Ryan
piling
Yarbrough.
up in the stream. Sorry, guys, a lot of things.
shoot for Yarbrough.
No.
Shoot for Ryan Yarbrough.
Stop.
See,
No, he's doing it.
See, it's empty. The can's got to be empty.
I swear to God, I just watched him.
Douglas. Douglas Jennifer McKain.
I need to drink my pain away, okay? And Ryan Yarbrough. Oh my
God.
Sorry. It's a shoey for Ryan Yarbrough, man. To get off to a good start. He's gonna be good.
Buddy, can you do something about your friend over here, man?
I've lost my mind. I've slept like 3 hours in the last week, okay? They give me Ryan Yarbrough.
We're hitting super chats.
Just did a shoey for Ryan Yarbrough.
Doug for the people, exactly.
If you guys don't
What's up,
give
Austin
Doug
Lime?
super
What's up,
chats
Cardinals Lunar
right
XVPC?
now for what he just did, he just put beer
The
in
bar got
his
low, someone said.
Jackie Robinson
got low.
in his Jackie Robinson
Ohtani's.
for Ryan Yarbrough. That deserves super chats. I'm going to be sick to my stomach right now.
Gary,
It
it's
could
your
be
first
no
time.
Ryan Yarbrough,
It's your first
okay?
time being in here. Quick reactions.
Yeah.
Gary
do
is
a shoey out of
slightly
the
Gary
Jordan
is
lenses
nauseous.
right
nauseous,
there.
but he's not the one who just smells.
on,
the-
No, Gary respects his.
I
his
smell
his
a
kicks
mixture
game.
of
Y'all just
beer
doing
and
those.
sweaty shoe right now. Anthony Keene dropped $10. Thank you,
Anthony Keene, my man. My man.
Yeah. Oh, Gary would have dropped a shoey for Cease. So we're gonna
But
hold them
not-
to that in the offseason.
Not Ryan Yarbrough. Okay.
So Ahmed Rosario season 2023. Our friend says we all love a comeback story. Bueller will save us. CRAS 951 $1.99. Thank you. So Cease was right there, but we rolling with unknowns. That's a really
Ryan
good
Yarbrough.
point for sure. Somebody, it wasn't a super chat, but somebody said, Mike Saldana said Andrew Clingy Friedman because he be clinging on to them kids that are unknowns right there. A bunch of reactions coming into the stream right now. Hey, mash that thumbs up button to
We got to
pay-
get to 1,000
to-
for
to
Ryan
pay-
Yarbrough.
to 1K.
to pay honor, to pay homage to Doug's fallen shoes.
Yeah,
there. Don't worry,
for
you didn't
Ryan
ruin. You didn't ruin
Yarbrough.
the.
Just mold.
You didn't ruin the curtains.
I bet half the people in the stream didn't even know Ryan Yarbrough was before this, and Doug just
Yeah,
did a shoey for him.
I don't think his family even knows.
J
Rager was
Dog
good.
$1.99 says we need to boo the team tonight for sure.
Sell the team.
Marv 323 $2 says we need Ned Coletti back. He drafted superstars. Doug,
Your boy
you're
Ned
talking
Coletti?
about there.
I mean,
Somebody gave
he's
the
not lying.
team.
He's
Yeah,
not
drop
lying.
your grades so far, your grades and reactions to this trade deadline up to this point. We don't know if we're getting any other, winning the trade deadline more with any more Ryan Yarbroughs in there. But that's all the super chats I think I have. Oh no, Sermon King 666 says Dallas Keuchel's still available. Just saying. You know who else is? Mason Saunders. Your boy,
my boy.
Madison Bumgarner. Bring him in. Bring in Yasiel Puig. Now you're having a real good time. Craig Osterberg, just a $4.99.
Kelly
Thank
Nash's
you,
husband.
Craig. We appreciate you for chipping into the buy
Craig.
Doug new shoes. A bunch of grades coming in. You guys are not surprised to learn most of them
Bad.
are F. So
Yeah.
Michael
F is
Rain,
a little strong.
Michael Rain the third says it's F minus. Miguel Galvin says C- so far. Brianna gives him an F. Azkabat, I don't know how to say that, but he says minus F. Jerry D-.
The Padres got Scott Barlow. They
No
got
way,
the
really?
better Royals
They got the barrel.
pitcher.
Okay,
They got the
I'm
barrel.
honestly.
Wow.
I'm assuming you're dropping
That is actually insane.
Longy
Andrew
Raider.
Friedman has fallen asleep.
He hit the snooze button.
Andrew
He hit the snooze
Friedman.
button.
Is Andrew Freeman ruining the trade deadline?
Andrew Friedman.
Longy Raider said, did he just put his shoe back on? We can't confirm.
I got some wet socks right now.
Yeah, at least he's wearing socks today. That's the
That's
only
true.
thing that kept him from.
You mean to tell me this Padres team sitting at 52 and 55, 8.5 games back in the NL West got Scott Barlow, and we got Ryan Yarbrough? Is there a mix up there in the reporting? I mean,
that's good for them, man.
geez.
Brianna, I think we already had that. Got an F. Isaac gives them a G-.
A G-.
DP on YouTube says Z-. That's pretty damn funny. Chris gives him a C+. Doug, give us a grade and just let it eat, man. Rant for what we've just endured.
I mean, I would give. Look, I think it's still tough because I mean I think I'm still gonna give them a C-, just because they did make the deal for Rodríguez, and had they made that deal, I think you would have to say they'd probably get a C+, B-, and it's unfortunate that he vetoed that trade. So it's tough. It's not like they didn't even try to make an attempt to add another starting pitcher. So adding 2 starting pitchers and a bullpen piece and 2 position players, that's a lot of activity at the deadline. So there's that. Also, Yarbrough's been really good of late, by the way, on 7:30 against the Twins. He pitched 7 innings, allowed 7 hits, but 1 earned run before that. 6 innings, 1 earned run before that on 7:19, 5 2/3, 3 earned runs. So Yarbrough can help. I think that, like I said, Wish.com Rodríguez. But still, all in all, I mean, I don't want to give this team a D, but it's pretty close to being a D plus C minus just for how disappointing that it really is. I mean, for me, it was almost like I wanted to give him an A plus for getting a C, for getting a top level, top flight guy, but they just didn't go out there and do that. And really, I've been of the belief that this team has just lacked aggression as far as when they think they can win. They're trying to prolong this window, but they need to strike while the iron's hot. If this season, we head into this offseason, Kershaw's gone, Urias gone, they don't trade for any pieces. They don't sign Shohei Ohtani. And then you look at Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, you're probably saying to yourself that this team is not going to be expected to win next year. And if you look 20, 30, 40 years and you look at what they did, if all they won was 2020, they're going to look back and they can say in the history of professional sports, with some of the best resources, 10 straight postseason appearances, you win all these division titles, you have one World Series to show for it, and a lot of people, that one World Series didn't come with a parade. And, of course, we know why, but it wasn't a full regular season. So does it satisfy like it did in 1988? I would say probably the answer, I don't know. I mean, I think it's different for different people. I think it was a unique championship, but I think that what I've always said is this regime here has to win 2 to win 1 as far as realizing the dream as the model franchise. I've been calling them the incomplete elite, right? They're elite at everything, but you need to win that full 162-game World Series to shut everyone up, to show yourself that, hey, we draft, scout, develop, we sign free agents, we trade for free agents, and as of right now, I still feel like the mission isn't accomplished. I've said it earlier in the show, you can't save your way to wealth. And it feels like they're trying to save their way to wealth with some of these prospects. And with inflation, you can't just leave your money in the bank, right? It's going to lose value. The prospects are going to lose value. They're getting older. I mean, someone free Michael Bush. For some reason, I mean, that's the name that keeps going in my mind is why is Michael Bush not getting an opportunity and not getting traded? Because he deserves that opportunity. And at some point that it's the Dodgers prospects, like I said, a lot of older guys, 23, 24, 25-year-old guys. And yeah, it just remains to be seen which of these guys will turn out to be stars, and you develop those prospects to cash in, and it just feels like they came close to having a very deep trade deadline with adding depth and a star, but they just weren't able to get there. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think that this team is still reeling from the injury to Dustin May, who was emerging as a star. I mean, Clayton Kershaw, he would have probably started in the All-Star game for a second consecutive year if he doesn't go down with the injury. Julio Urias, he was coming off a year where he was expected to be a Cy Young finalist, if not win the Cy Young, right? He led the National League in ERA last season, right? So this is a team that did not expect for these guys to, 1, have down years, 2, get injured, but still you have to make some moves. I mean, I think at this point, it just feels like this organization is content to just wait to see if these guys are going to emerge and to see if they can get Shohei Ohtani. And really everything we heard about the last offseason was that they're looking for 2024 versus focusing on 2023. And this, to me, proves just that, is that 2023 was not the priority. They weren't serious about going all in. Like, don't kid yourself. This team, your Dodgers, they're not all in on this team. That's a fact. They're just not.
Yeah, they're willing to wait it out. They're willing to figure out what some of these players down in the minor leagues, what some of these unhealthy, unwell players, as Noah might call them, are going to be able to piece together and figure out the season. But it wasn't the move. You know, there's so many prospects they have just kind of laying around that they're not going to use. They're not going to plug them in to be weapons for this team because they are complete unknowns, as we've said in the chat. And Doug, I'd say pull up the chat so you can riff through some as well. It's a miss. It's a pretty good miss. Like Ryan Yarbrough, yeah, he's a floor raiser. I'll give him that. I think that one it takes Michael Grove out of the equation. So that right there, if they are going to plug him in as a rotation guy, that's a little bit of a help. It's not great. It's not positive. It's not you don't get to walk around with your head held high as you go to Dodger Stadium tonight for Lance Lynn, who has the worst ERA in baseball for a guy with that many innings. He's going out there and he's starting as your big trade deadline addition. Yeah, they brought in 5 guys so far. But none of them are like, man, this is yeah, let's go Dodgers. I'm not gonna go out and buy myself a Ryan Yarbrough jersey.
Yeah. That won't be produced.
They will not be.
You have to get it custom made
for sure. But it has
been good. I will say
it's tough, but again, you really do. You have a lot of reliance on Kershaw and Buehler, and that's where this club is at.
Yeah, I think does Friedman think maybe it was 6, maybe it was 9 Eastern and 6 West Coast time. Maybe it was the times mixed up, and he still thinks there's 3 hours to go.
3 Hawaii time.
It was 3 Hawaii time. Okay, maybe that's the
He's
case right here. But yeah, look, at some point you have to understand that they didn't make any moves that really are earth-shattering moves, the ones that we were hoping, the ones we expected. And like I said, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but if you're not going to go all in on this team, you're really setting up this team for failure instead of setting them up for success. And really, you can't have World Series expectations for a team that you didn't do everything possible to try to improve. Yeah. I mean, for the Padres, the Angels, Marlins, Diamondbacks, Orioles, all these teams being hyper-aggressive, yeah, you can look back and say the Dodgers getting 4 players was aggressive. They were all negative WAR players. I think they're going to have success. I'm very bullish and brazen on Lance Lynn. I think he's going to be a great surprise to a lot of Dodger fans. I think they're going to figure him out. I think that he's going to strike out a lot of batters. I think he's going to have more success. Like, I think he's going to be the pitcher version of Chris Martin in that, I'm not saying he's going to be as dominant as Chris Martin was, but Chris Martin's problem was giving up home runs. We know that Lance Lynn, 28 long balls, right? But he still has some above-average swing and miss stuff. So I think he's going to get back to career norms as far as keeping it in the yard. So I think he's going to have success. But like I said, talk about the ifs and buts, right? As far as the guys can come back, there's also some ifs with the current players. You have to bank on them staying healthy. I mean, if this pitching staff, which is middling at best, 15th in Major League Baseball when you look at F4, but innings pitched, ERA, some of the swing and miss was down. The whiff rates were down in the month of July. If you look at all those numbers right there, if this offense goes through a long slump and the Padres turn it on or other teams that I think have a jump start from the deadline, you have to be concerned. I mean, this team, you said it best in the offseason, this looked like a 90-win team to you, right? 88, 90-win team. They feel like I said 97 wins because I was hopeful. One of my big talking points for 97 was the team's going to be really solid. They're going to have some really high points. They're going to be reliant on the long ball, and they have guys that can hit that. And when they get to the trade deadline, they're going to address their needs if they feel like this team is close to being a World Series. If they can find a player that can put them over the top, they'll go out and do that. They did not go out there and do that. Even Rodríguez, who I think was better than Flaherty, it's not like he was a massive game changer. I mean, he's pitched very well this season. Mm-hmm. He's surely the ace of the Tigers. Like I said, a high-end 3 at solid number 2. But even that, I mean, it's just not the guy. I mean, Verlander, I think, was the interesting one. I've seen people out there saying collusion with the Astros and the Mets. And, yeah, at the end of the day, he had the no-trade clause. So if he wanted to try to force his way back to Houston, that was definitely something that was his prerogative to try to go and do that. But it just felt like this Dodger team, once the Rodríguez move was dead, that they didn't have a viable plan C, plan D. I don't feel like they were hyper-aggressive for Dylan Cease. I mean, if they were listening for Dylan Cease, here's the thing. If they were picking up the phone, in most cases, a lot of teams, you're hearing dial tone if you want to try to get Dylan Cease. If they're listening, no team has the depth as far as their prospects that the Dodgers had. So, to me, it's just a matter of how aggressive they were. So, it tells me that they probably said X player, A, B, and C. Dodgers said you can get C, D, and B or whatever, C, D, and E, and they just really weren't able to get that deal together, and they said, okay, bye, and that was it. So, yeah, unfortunately, the Rodríguez deal fell through. This team's going to have to find a way to have everyone on their team just take a level up from the pitching side and hope that everything works out. And like you mentioned, Daniel Hudson, we'll see. Does Blake Trinan come back? Pretty much the biggest X factor at this point is Walker Buehler. I'm going to be checking Walker Buehler's Instagram now every 30 seconds to see if he posted another video of him throwing. Right?
Yeah, for real. So more on the trade. This is through the chat on YouTube, so we gotta double check if it's 100% confirmed. But Chris P from Mark Feinsand said the Royals are getting Devin Mann and shortstop Derlin Figueroa from the Dodgers for Yarbrough. So Devin Mann is another one of those guys they've held on to for a very, very long time. And he's having his best year ever at AAA this year. So shout out to the OKC Dodgers for losing a big bat there. I guess they hold on to Michael Busch at this trade deadline. But it's kind of, I don't know if it's steep because none of those guys were ever going to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. If Devin Mann was going to play, he would have been called up already. They've needed help at third base. They've needed help in the outfield. They've needed a bat off the bench at different points. So it's an interesting trade all around. I mean, again, that one, if we're talking about out of left field, this one is out of where Giancarlo Stanton hit the ball out of left field, out of Dodger Stadium back in whenever the hell it was, 2015 or something like that. But at this point, we sit here and we kind of realize we kind of have to accept the fact that the Padres did better. I don't know. Did they do better? They did. I mean, they did. They had
Rich Hill, Barlow.
They got Richie.
I mean, Rich Hill, Garrett
Barlow.
Cooper, Scott
Jim Manchoy's
Barlow.
been below average, but
Yeah,
still,
Troy
I
he's
don't know
doing
where
well.
they fit G-Man Choi and Garrett Cooper on that roster because those are two
That's
very
splits.
defensively limited players. And they already had that problem. They already dealt with that issue with Nelson Cruz a couple months ago. But a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna get out of here. And you guys will want to stay
we'll break this
tuned
down
to
too later.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Doug has plenty of things. He's got to cry. He's got to throw his shoes away, and then he has to
Be in field position rest of the day.
Yeah, he has to go through all of this. Maybe take a little nappy nap. Grab some more of that pizza over there in the corner. But it's wasn't the deadline anybody was expecting for sure.
Yeah, it really wasn't. And it was a unique deadline in that a deal fell through. I mean, Lance Lynn.
I don't think they expected that at all.
Yeah, I mean, and Devin Mann, you get a top 30 prospect, big league ready, especially for an organization like that. So you're not going to be hurting from that, but it just felt like you really can't at this point expect you can't have an unexpected fallout at the end if you're the Dodgers. You have to be able to pivot immediately, especially how competitive the market is. And yeah, it's going to be definitely a little deflating. Hopefully this Dodgers team picks it up because let's also mention the fact that they went 2-4 last week. The offense averaged 3.3 runs per game. They allowed 38 runs. So you're going to have to pick it up and start playing good baseball once again after that road trip where you played very well and you take 4 of 6. So they have to get back to their winning ways because it's not like they're running away with it in the NL West. So I think this organization felt like me the last couple of days, Clint, that some of these guys, they were kind of banged up. It was more like, okay, you have an off day Monday. Let's give you some extended rest. Let's see what we're working with. Let's see what we're loading up with for the end of the season. And I think there was this anticipation with this group. I think there was also some distraction, right, as far as the Chris Taylor rumors, the Max Muncy rumors, the Arenado, right? Now they were waiting to say, okay, what is the roster going to look like? Now they know. So you just have to hope that those guys play as well as they're capable of playing. But yeah, they don't have the fireworks, the explosion, like the really exciting move that we saw. Like even Darvish 2017. It wasn't the biggest move, but it was
big, man.
it was I mean it wasn't it was big. I mean it was big at the time. I mean him and Verlander pretty much the two best names available and
at that time Darvish was the better player. He was the better pitcher. He had the better season going.
And he pitched very well in the DS, pitched very well in the CS, and then they cheated against the World Series.
That was that time where we figured, oh, man, Verlander probably has another year or two in the league, and he's out.
But you look at this Padres team we just mentioned, right? Darvish, Musgrove, Snell having a career year.
Snell having a great year.
Compared to this Dodgers team.
They're about to get Waka back.
Yeah,
They're about to add.
Lugo's been really good.
Rich Hill's going to give him some innings. He has some experience. They're going to mix Seth Lugo in and around.
It's criminal that the Padres essentially were more aggressive, considering they should have been. They were talking about
they had to be.
Preller
They're also
sellers.
one of the biggest disappointments, though. It's the Mets, then it's the Padres in terms of disappointments. But the Padres
It's about
still
getting
have a
hot at
chance.
the end, right? Get a ticket to the dance.
Let's go ahead and hit the super chat button one more time because we got a number of things going on here, and then after that, I'm going to chime out. I'm going to check out. If you want to keep on riffing, Doug, you can, but I would say we could probably end it and process all of this. We're going to be talking all about everything, breaking it down, DodgersNation.com, InsideTheDodgers.com. If you want to learn more about the Padres, InsideThePadres.com. We have you covered in all the baseball through our network. Anthony Keene throws $10 our way. We very much appreciate that. This thing also gives us so long before the super chats kind of disappear on us. So if we miss it, that we apologize. I am ambiguous. 499 says, unfortunately, I don't think we're doing anything. Let's see if the young guys can handle the postseason lights. I'm hopeful. Go Dodgers. Let's keep scrolling down here. Devin, 199, 50K in the seats regardless. Maybe they don't care. I understand the idea. I don't agree with this. I don't subscribe to this sentiment. But David Deathridge, I guess it's Deathy Rage. I totally nailed that one. I don't want to damage your family name. But so $4.99. Friedman needs to quit holding on to these holding these prospects hostage in LA. Let them go out and play somewhere else. Don't keep them here if they don't want to be moved, or if they're not going to move them up. So that's David's first super chat with us. Thank you, David. Very much appreciate you. A number of comments also in the stream saying free Michael Busch. I think this needs to be Busch
Play
era.
them or trade them, man.
Again, I said it last night. The fact that Miguel Rojas is getting at bats in the major leagues and Michael Busch is not should be criminal. Kevin Uhas, $5. Tell me a Kershaw, Urias, Lynn, Buehler rotation won't be lethal late September. It can be.
It's possible. The talent's there for sure.
Yeah, I could also go buy a scratch off and win $500 million when I'm on my way home. It's like maybe the Dodger.
You need to be more realistic, less idealistic.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And I think that Saki Bomb $5. If we don't get Ohtani in the winter, wasted 2023 season. That's the outlook. Is it still Andrew Friedman we trust?
I would say, look, like I was saying,
it's waning.
I always look both ways when I cross a one-way street. I don't trust anyone, but I will say that he has lost a little. My trust meter has gone down. Just
a hair.
I will say, as far as you look at these other organizations, Clint, some of the better ones, they are Friedman disciples, right? So
yeah, they're
branching off of him. But I got people, I got friends texting me in all caps. Yeah. Mad. Are you effing kidding me? Padres got Barlow, fire Friedman. He's asleep at the wheel. When I see Friedman at the music center, what do you want me to tell him? What? Nothing. First of all, friend who texted me that, don't say anything. Be professional. Okay. But yeah, I do think that there's frustration. But at the end of the day, maybe this galvanizes the group. Maybe this forces the clubhouse to say that, these people out there thought we need to bring in this player and that player, but we got enough talent right here. We know Major League Baseball, the postseason is a crapshoot. We saw what happened last year with the Padres. Let's try to peak at the right time. The cupboard is not bare. I will get through this. We will get through this deadline, we will definitely rebuild, and we'll be better off because of it. Is it disappointing? Yes. Should they have gone out there and got another move for a starter? Yes. I'm disappointed, not even about the starter thing at this point, about not getting another reliever that I think like a Barlow. But I will say Yarbrough, there's a chance. I think Yarbrough's going to surprise people too, how he's pitched of late, but nothing explosive. Not that one guy that you say, game 1 starter, game 2 starter. So, hey, Walker Buehler, keep posting your Instagrams. Keep getting that velocity up because we need you back.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take 94 mile per hour.
No
Walker
doubt.
Buehler at some point. A little bit more from the Twitter machine. Zach Measle retweeted by Ken Rosenthal. So the Guardians are going to release Gene Segura. So somebody asked, there was a super chat about that. Let me pull that up real quick. Why Newman? $2 on the super chat. Thank you so much on that. Saying you could dance phantomly if you want to. Saying Segura is getting waived, worth a flyer, righty bat. Gene Segura has been good at different points in the past. He's also not a great defender. He would be an improvement over, Miguel Vargas, but they already did that. I had to get one in on Doug. I had to get one in.
Segura's been really bad this year.
He does that every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's sort of his thing right there. But that seems to be where the situation is at. He is available, or he will be available if he's going to get eventually, become a free agent. And that looks to be the way the cookie is crumbling here. The rumors and the things are drying up.
Yeah, Jeff Passan said it was over.
Yeah.
So if he says
Jeff
it's over,
says
it's over.
Ryan Yarbrough, Dodgers country, let's ride.
Let's ride. Obviously, Noah and I have some work to do. Noah, give us your final thoughts on this before we check out.
Yeah, obviously I've been over here doing my best to get DodgersNation.com and InsideTheDodgers.com up. So make sure you go check out those two sites for all the latest Dodgers news. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously disappointing. To me, obviously the biggest disappointment is the starting pitcher. I think this team needed to add a starting pitcher before the deadline. But additionally, I wanted one more bat, especially because I'm about 99% sure JD Martinez is heading to the IL, and we're probably going to get that news in the next hour or so.
Michael Busch.
And all I know is when that news comes, fans are going to be even more irate about this quiet deadline. I mean, yeah, Michael Busch is going to end up coming up, but people like talent that they've seen perform well. And I think the Dodgers should have added one more right-handed bat because Ahmed Rosario, he's looked good in short time. Kike Hernandez looked good in short time, but those guys aren't potentially the greatest answer. So we'll have to see. But overall, it's disappointing. Fortunately, the Dodgers were able to do things early. I think tonight Lance Lynn is going to be under the most pressure start of his career because if he has a bad start, it is not going to be pretty for the Dodgers. It's not going to be pretty for Lance Lynn. So he better have his A game on. Luckily, he's playing the Athletics. So he better bring his A game to the Athletics because Dodger fans will probably riot if he has a bad start tonight.
It's a good day to make a good first impression. One more super chat. I almost missed it. Thank you guys for helping out in the chat. Brandon Chang, $4.99 says, make a 9-man rotation, piggyback the young pitchers, and tell them to give everything they got for 3 innings until the second starter comes in after that. Yeah, if you have a 30-man roster, 30-man active roster, you can do that. But when you got 26, you're kind of handcuffed. But I do think they're gonna, at this point, with the way the things are kind of lined up, they're gonna have to be really creative in the postseason. And what this team has had success in the past. If anything, they've been more successful, and don't quote me on it because I just saw this on Twitter and I'm stealing it from wherever it was. I don't remember who said it, so I apologize, but they've been more successful in the postseason in recent years going with an opener.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a strategy that they've employed. I mean, we saw even Game 5 of the NLDS against the Giants. I mean, I think it was Knable, and then we saw Julio Rodríguez come out there. And yeah, definitely something, especially with the first inning woes of some of these guys, even Julio. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that they're going to have to explore. I think ideally, you really get your horses in line. You get your house in order. You get the guy, because look, let's be honest. If Julio was having the year that we expect him to have, would we be as desperate right now, right? Would we be as desperate? And this guy in a contract year that hopefully can figure it out. So, yeah, basically, 1, need everyone to get healthy. 2, everyone to play to their capabilities. 3, you need the offense to probably be a little less home run reliant, especially in the postseason when you can't slug every single game. If you want the dub, you got to slug.
Come on.
That's what you need.
We almost went a show without saying it.
We almost did.
We went 2.5 hours.
Cody is so pissed right
Doug
now.
saying it. And actually, 2 hours and 45 minutes without Doug saying it.
If Cody was running the board, he would have walked over here and
We
strangled
almost had
me.
a 3-hour show without a
it.
"you want the dub, you got to slug," and then at the buzzer, Doug got to get it.
You have got to. But look, the reality is this team needs to regroup. And the good thing, I think, is it's just about you have this roster intact. There is no waivers. There is no second deadline. There's nothing. This is the roster you have. You're going to have to run with it and hope that guys really just stay healthy for the rest of the year, that they figure things out. I think we'll see if Rosario and Kike and Joe Kelly and Lance Lynn can help fortify this rotation, and hopefully this team has a chance. But at this point, you'd be crazy and delusional to say that this team is a World Series favorite. You'd be crazy and delusional to say that this team is not going to be underdogs against the Braves as they face off in the postseason. So we'll see if they're playing the long game. If we're looking at this from 300.
Say maybe that's where they want to be, though.
Maybe that is. It's clear that it's where they're at, right? And I think you do run the risk of overvaluing your prospects and having them lose value. Michael Busch, I mean, this guy.
Don't worry. Those guys are being traded in the offseason for Nolan. It's all good.
There you go. There you have it. Or Cease or someone.
Cease.
Yeah.
Listen, again, this happened in 2019. They tried to get Mookie. Didn't work out. Mookie was a Dodger a few months later in the offseason. Andrew loves to cook in the offseason. He'll do what he needs to do. But this is a team. We're still talking about a first-place team. They just want to get into the dance. That's all they care about. They don't care about necessarily winning the division, but they're in a good spot to do so. Giants behind them. Giants didn't do that much to improve their roster. The Padres did more, but they're in 4th place, a good long way back of the field there in the NL West. But a lot more to break down with all of this, to digest and all that. And like we already said, that's all going on DodgersNation.com, InsideTheDodgers.com to add one more piece to what Doug was saying. Dave Roberts needs to really step up. He needs to do his best Tommy Lasorda impression. Yeah. You know, if he needs to break and bend his finger one way, he needs to say, "I believe." You need to believe that you could be the best player out there on the field right now. He needs to get in Michael Grove's face. He needs to get in Emmett Sheehan's face. He needs to tell these guys, look, they send a message to this roster, to this organization, to the guys there in that dugout. And Dave started last week when he said, we like the guys on this team. We don't want to do too much to change the chemistry of this team. So they rolled out the blue carpet for them, and they said, this is your guys' team. Don't make us look stupid. And now it's up to the team to kind of figure it out.
100%. Amen to that. Definitely Dave Roberts needs to get his bag.
Got a quick super chat. Why
Super
Newman?
chat.
Why Newman? $2. Segura is getting waived.
Oh, you
got that one?
Yeah, I think we
Worth
got
a
him
flyer,
all.
Righty B.
I think.
Why not?
I don't think so.
I think
like,
we, yeah.
He's
No,
at 54.
I think we could do
He's
better.
pretty bad, but
Yeah.
I would rather see Michael Busch get an actual
Or is he Mickey
opportunity at
back?
the
As
major.
a left DB,
I
yeah.
see Miguel Vargas back.
No, we're good. No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Come
we're
on,
good.
Swelling Sausage. Do better than that, man. Appreciate that, but we're not going to read that kind of stuff. Guys, we appreciate you
What'd he
so
say?
much. So many of you people, so many likes. What did we get to? Did we get to 1,000 likes? We didn't. That's why we didn't make a
Guys,
trade.
106 more likes, and Dylan Cease will be traded to the Dodgers.
There you go, guys.
Andrew Friedman just told me.
We're still
First-
Dodgers fans, the best
first,
franchise on earth.
first
Okay,
time we've done-
Be happy you're a Dodger fan, guys.
Doug,
We're
how
in
you
every
feeling,
year.
by the way? You've been live for
10
like
hours
5
I mean,
hours
I'm
a day.
disappointed, but I'm still talking Dodger baseball,
Yeah.
so life
Doug
couldn't
is
be
always
better.
ready
Okay,
to talk.
We're having a
could
good
not be
time.
better.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will be back. We will be breaking all this down. Subscribe to youtube.com/Dodgers Nation TV. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching this after the fact. Leave a thumbs up on every video we've ever made. Leave a comment on all the videos. It really helps boost us in the algorithms, and it helps out a whole bunch. This will be also a very long podcast, so search for all your podcast spots on the Apple, on the Spotify. Blue Heaven Podcast. We're there. All of our content goes up on there as well. I'm Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram. That's DMAC_LA, Twitter and Instagram. That is at Noah Camras, Twitter and Instagram and Threads. And X. And Threads and all those type of things.
The likes are going up. We are now just 65 likes away from 1,000. So I think we got to just stay on to hit 1,000.
No. Listen, we've already been doing this for a while. We actually have to do our jobs at some point.
One more drink out of this, maybe for 2,000 likes. 2,000 likes.
Thank you to Spencer for running the board. I'm sure this was very exciting for him to sit around there for 17 hours and doing this. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the questions. Thank you so damn much for the super chats. One of these days, we're going to use that super chat money. We're going to go to Top Golf to celebrate something. I don't know what the hell we're going to do.
Yes,
we'll get home run seats at Dodger Stadium. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.